Chapter 645. Illusion God Sect Main Hall. Golden Rock King sat there. Xiaokun walked in from outside. Seeing the other party, he cupped his hands and smiled. Golden Rock King, how come you have time to come to my Illusion God Sect today? Sect Master Xia. Golden Rock King also cupped his hands and returned the greeting. Xiaokun was already a sky human and also the vice sect master of the Illusion God Sect. He was also qualified to sit on equal footing with him. Why don't I see Illusion God King? Sect Master is in seclusion. The sect's affairs are temporarily handled by me. Xiaokun sat opposite Golden Rock King and said with a faint smile. So Illusion God King's cultivation is about to break through? Golden Rock King's expression changed slightly. Illusion God King was the same as him. They were both peak Sky Human 3rd layer experts. Even higher. Sky Human 4th layer, entering the Saint Realm. However, Heavenly Pattern Island had methods left behind by the emperors. It was almost impossible to understand the rules and break through to the 4th layer of Sky Human. From ancient times until now, Heavenly Pattern Island had never produced a cultivator above the 3rd layer of Sky Human. So, for the experts on the island, the 3rd layer of Sky Human was the limit. After reaching this realm, they could peacefully enjoy their lifespan for thousands, or even tens of thousands of years. The rest was nothing. But unfortunately, because Heavenly Pattern Island was often attacked by fierce beasts, there were very few Sky Human that could truly live to the end of their lifespan. But no matter what, reaching the 3rd layer of Sky Human, there was no need for seclusion. Hearing this, Xiaokun shook his head and sighed regretfully. Golden Rock King should also know that there is no future after the 3rd layer of Sky Human. But soon, he restrained his thoughts and looked at Golden Rock King. Golden Rock King has come today. May I know the reason? The old ancestor has ordered that my Saint God sect will be sending some clansmen to leave Heavenly Pattern Island. This seat will also go with them. I wonder if anyone from Illusion Sea sect is willing to leave the island? Leave the island? Xiaokun's expression changed. He also had this plan. But Xiaokun also knew how dangerous it was to leave Heavenly Pattern Island. He didn't think, after breaking through to Sky Human, he would truly be invincible. Not to mention anything else. Just the number of celestial realm ferocious beasts outside Heavenly Pattern Island was quite large. These beasts, they had all come from other places after King Zhang and the other beasts had fallen. In the sea, every ferocious beast had its own fixed territory. If they wanted to go to other territories, they would have to fight with other ferocious beasts. King Zhang and the other ferocious beasts were quite strong in the sea region they were currently in. That was why there were no ferocious beasts fighting over the territories near Heavenly Pattern Island. But now, King Zhang and the other beasts had fallen. Faced with Heavenly Pattern Island's soaring aura, which ferocious beast could restrain itself? The Golden Rock King said, Sect Master Xia should know that in Heavenly Mark Island, the 3rd stage of the Celestial Realm is the limit. There is no possibility of further progress. However, how long does the 3rd stage of the Celestial Realm have? We worked so hard to cultivate until now, but we were stopped by the restrictions of the Heavenly Pattern Island's emperors. Wouldn't it be a pity if we died in silence? Only by leaving Heavenly Pattern Island and going to the vast world outside can I find opportunities to improve. He did not mention anything about the inheritance of the demonic beasts. That was the secret of the Holy God sect. Although the 3 sects had a good relationship with each other, there were still secrets between them. It was impossible for them to reveal everything. Xiaokun fell silent when she heard this. She did not completely believe the Golden Rock King's words. After all, to be able to cultivate to this level, Xiaokun was not a fool. However, the meaning of the Golden Rock King's words made her heart tremble. No one was willing to stop at the 3rd stage of the Celestial Realm. True immortal expert. One could enjoy 129,600 years. In Heavenly Pattern Island, anyone who cultivated to this level had thought of becoming an immortal. However, the restrictions of the emperors shattered their fantasies. There are many ferocious beasts in the sea. It's not like there aren't any saint or almighty ferocious beasts. Although the Golden Rock King is strong, it won't be easy to cross the sea of death. Xiaokun suppressed the thoughts in her heart and said calmly, Heavenly Pattern Island had existed for 1,000,000 years. It was not that there were no celestial realm experts who went out, but the result was obvious. They all died in the sea. The Golden Rock King said in a deep voice, "I naturally understand Sect Master Xia's intentions. That's why I came here this time to find the Fantasy God King. With one more Skyman cultivator, our chances of success will be higher. I need to report this matter to the old ancestor." Xiakun did not immediately refuse, but he also did not immediately agree. Leaving Heavenly Pattern Island. This matter was no small matter. However, he also realized that this might be an opportunity to break the seal of Heavenly Pattern Island. "All right, I will wait here for Sect Master Xia's news." The Golden Rock King nodded, but he had no intention of leaving. Xiakun stood up. He directly left the hall. Not long after, he arrived at Xia Chao's residence. "Old ancestor, the Golden Rock King, I already know his purpose for coming." Xia Chao interrupted him, then looked at Xiakun and said calmly, "Heavenly Pattern Island cannot be without a third-stage celestial realm cultivator. However, the Saint God sect is leaving Heavenly Pattern Island this time. Your talent is very strong. If you were in the outside world, you might be able to break through to the Almighty Realm. If you want, you can follow the Saint God sect and leave Heavenly Pattern Island." Xia Chao did not make a decision for Xiakun. Instead, he gave the choice back to him. To this, Xiakun's face was filled with hesitation. To him, leaving or not was a difficult decision. "If I leave the island, will I have a chance to come back in the future? I'm not sure. Every time you enter and exit the Sea of Death, the risk is different. If you're lucky, you might be able to safely return to Heavenly Pattern Island like Qin Shujian. If you're unlucky, even a supreme expert will have the risk of dying." Xia Chao shook his head and said slowly, "If you leave Heavenly Pattern Island, if you have the chance, go find Qin Shujian. He has a strong destiny on him. Perhaps he is the son of destiny of this era. If it wasn't for luck, how could he come to Heavenly Pattern Island? If it wasn't for luck, how could he obtain the Godslayer?" Although he was the one who gave the Godslayer to the other party, everything was about cause and effect. From the other party safely arriving at Heavenly Pattern Island. This already proved that the other party's destiny was strong. Yes, Xiakun nodded. Eastern Continent, Qian Yuan Realm. After leaving the Demon Ox Cave, the inheritance of the Demon Clan came to an end. In other words, after leaving Heavenly Pattern Island, Qin Shujian had already fulfilled his promise to the two clans. The Eldar inheritance was given to Mu Yang, and the Demon Clan inheritance was given to Nyodali. Compared to the inheritances of the two clans, the Demon Clan's inheritance is more powerful. Nyodali devoured the Demon Emperor's blood essence and became a cultivator at the 5th level of the Heaven-Human realm on the spot. From the looks of it, it won't be long before he breaks through to the Supreme Expert realm. The inheritances left behind by ancient experts are indeed not simple. Qin Shujian shook his head. In comparison, the human clan's inheritance was a little painful. However, he thought about it again. The human clan's inheritance is actually not bad. Heavenly Pattern Island has star sulfur. While it can strengthen one's foundation, it can also increase one's strength. Not only that, there is also the existence of Zhu Bing's Godslayer. If that's the case, the human clan's inheritance is not much worse than the other two clans. Thinking so, Qin Shujian felt much better. The main reason why he could grow so fast was because Heavenly Pattern Island was soaked in star sulfur. What I need to do now is to refine the transformation pill. That's not right. Not only do I need to concoct transformation pills, but I also need to concoct other pills. Powerful pills can recover the strength consumed and the injuries of the physical body and spirit. At the critical moment, it might be able to turn the tables. If I prepare some pills in advance, it might be useful when the time comes. Qin Shujian pondered for a moment. It would be good to have more pills. Just like the Soul Protection Emperor. When he attained the Tao, he swallowed pills to completely recover his strength. In the end, he killed Emperor Hanyue and the other experts and luckily succeeded in attaining the Tao. However, for the current Qin Shujian, ordinary pills were no longer effective. Although he was a cultivator at the 6th level of the Heaven-Human realm. In terms of foundation, he had already reached the level of a half-immortal. The energy contained in the Tier 9 pills. It was not enough to be of much use. Therefore, if he wanted to be of use to himself, he had to refine pills that surpassed the Tier 9. The level of the pills, the method of refining pills is a problem. The ability to control the pills is also a problem. But the most important thing is the spiritual materials when refining the pills. If there are powerful spiritual materials, I can naturally refine powerful pills. Qin Shujian thought to himself. No one could create things out of thin air. To refine powerful pills, it was inevitable that there would be powerful spiritual materials. Just like the Heaven List, it could be promoted to an 8-seal Dao artifact because of the fragment of the immortal ranking of the myriad races as the foundation. The foundation of the 9-seal Dao artifact. Coupled with his powerful forging method, he could create a powerful 8-seal Dao artifact. If there was no fragment of the immortal ranking of the myriad races as the foundation, with Qin Shujian's strength, at most, he could forge a 6-seal Dao artifact. Then, Qin Shujian looked at his attribute panel. At this time, his life source had officially broken through to 400 billion. He simply glanced at his life source, and then his attention fell on the special martial arts column. With a thought, 100 billion life source consumed. The celestial blue alchemy scroll changed slightly, and then a powerful memory emerged from the depths of his mind. Rumble. At that moment, Qin Shujian found that his spiritual deity seemed to be out of control. It directly left his body and floated toward the mother stream of laws. The spiritual deity crashed into the mother stream of laws. Soon, it wandered to the front of a long river of laws. Compared to the width of the long river of laws, the long river of laws in front of him should be underestimated. It was only about 60 to 70 feet wide, and as for how long it was, he couldn't see the end. Then, Qin Shujian's spiritual deity passively crashed into the long river of laws. Boom! The spiritual deity entered the long river of laws. Logically speaking, a cultivator who had already comprehended one long river of laws would face an unimaginable attack when entering the second long river of laws. However, when Qin Shujian's spiritual deity entered, it didn't suffer any counterattack. Not only that, there was a kind of warmth as if returning to the embrace of a mother. That familiar feeling. It allowed him to swim freely in the long river of laws. At the same time, a mysterious aura had already surged into his heart. Alchemy Dao Law. At this moment, Qin Shujian also understood what the long river of laws he had entered was. Alchemy Dao Law. The Celestial Light Alchemy Tome had another breakthrough, and it had reached the 3rd stage of Alchemy Grandmaster. If it was converted into cultivation base, Qin Shujian estimated that it was probably equivalent to the 10th level of the Celestial Realm or even the Nirvana Realm. After all, a 3rd stage Alchemy Grandmaster, if one took another step forward, it would already be a Sacred Alchemy Master. And a Sacred Alchemy Master, corresponding to a true immortal. In other words, after the breakthrough of the Celestial Light Alchemy Tome, Qin Shujian's alchemy cultivation base was already higher than his realm cultivation base. A Sacred Alchemy Master uses the rules to refine pills. In other words, to be able to cultivate to the level of a Sacred Alchemy Master, one is already a true immortal powerhouse. After all, how can an alchemy master who uses the rules to refine pills not touch the rules? Qin Shujian tried his best to comprehend the alchemy Dao Law. If it was in the past, it wasn't an easy task to comprehend the second rule. Right now, relying on the improvement of his life source, he could easily enter the alchemy Dao Law. An unknown amount of time passed. Qin Shujian felt that his comprehension of the alchemy Dao Law had reached a limit, and then he had to withdraw from it. In the courtyard, Qin Shujian, who was standing still, suddenly came back to his senses. "Senior, how much time has passed?" 5 days, Godslayer said. He knew that Qin Shujian had just entered the long river of rules. However, when the other party's spirit god returned, Godslayer sensed a different aura. "Qin Shi, why do you look a little different this time? Did you have another breakthrough in your strength rule?" Godslayer wasn't sure. That different aura didn't seem to be the strength rule. It wasn't the strength rule. What kind of rule could it be? It couldn't be that the other party had already walked out of the second rule at this time. Thinking of this possibility, the god-slaying saber was also shocked, but it quickly discarded that thought. How could it be so easy to walk out of the second rule? Inside the ancient true immortal, even among the emperors, not many could walk out of the second rule. So, although Godslayer knew that Qin Shujian was very talented, he didn't think that the other party could walk out of the second rule at this time. I didn't have any breakthrough in the strength rule, but I had some feelings in alchemy just now, and I accidentally comprehended some alchemy Dao law, Qin Shujian said casually, as if he did not care at all. By the way, if you comprehend 2 rules, can the increase in power of the rules be stacked? Godslayer thought he heard wrong. But looking at Qin Shujian's serious expression and the fluctuation that didn't belong to the strength rule, he didn't know how to refute. 2 rules. Could someone really comprehend 2 rules before becoming a true immortal? Godslayer was confused. But soon, he came back to his senses and said in an inexplicable voice, "Well, that's right. If you comprehend 2 rules, the increase can indeed be stacked. For example, your first rule can increase your strength by 50%. If the second rule can also increase your strength by 50%, when the 2 are stacked, you can increase your combat strength by 5%. When the 2 are stacked, shouldn't it increase my combat strength by 100%? Qin Shujian frowned. This was a little different from what he expected. Godslayer said, "It's not the same. Walking out of the second rule doesn't mean that you can perfectly inherit the power of the first rule, because there are conflicts between rules, but there are also commonalities. Therefore, the addition of the second rule can only make the first rule stronger by half, but even half is already very powerful. This means that your strength rule is naturally stronger by half than the rules of the same level. Even the weakest rule, after such an increase, its strength won't be much weaker than a powerful rule. This is the benefit of walking out of the second rule. But at the same time, the increase of rules is also about equality. Now that you've walked out of the second rule, because the rules are conflicting, it will be difficult for you to walk down the strength rule in the future. At the same time, if you become an immortal with the strength rule and don't completely master the alchemy rule, then the increase of the second rule won't exist. If you want to provide the increase of the second rule, you must ensure that the second rule is on the same level as the first rule. In other words, if you master the strength rule, you must leave your mark on the alchemy rule monument, so that the 2 rules of becoming an immortal can provide the corresponding increase. One is an immortal, and the other is not, so there won't be any effect. Godslayer explained in detail this time. He realized, in the past, when he saw that Qin Shujian hadn't walked to that step and didn't want to explain things, the other party would soon slap him in the face. So, Godslayer might as well just tell him everything. After the explanation, he said in a deep voice, "It's not a good thing to walk out of the second rule before becoming a true immortal, because it will increase the difficulty of you becoming an immortal. But there's only one reason for experts to walk out of the second rule. That is, there's no way forward for the first rule. Only when there's no way forward will they open up a new path. As long as there's a way forward for their own rules, no one will open up a new path. Because once a new path is born, no matter which path you take, the difficulty will increase greatly." He paused. Godslayer warned seriously, "I suggest you abolish the alchemy rule and walk the path of the strength rule with peace of mind. Otherwise you'll bite off more than you can chew." Qin Shujian replied absent-mindedly. His attention was now completely focused on what the god-slaying saber had said, the increase of the rules. It turned out that it could only be done by the same side of the rules. As for what Godslayer said, Qin Shujian had never thought of abolishing the alchemy Dao's rules. What a joke. Now that the alchemy rule could increase combat strength, if he abolished it, wouldn't he be cutting off an arm? Overall, the alchemy rule is inferior to the strength rule, but my comprehension of the alchemy rule has already surpassed the strength rule. After all, the strength rule is at most around the 9th level of the celestial being. As for the comprehension of the alchemy rule, that swim just now has already reached the 10th level of the celestial being. Thinking of this, Qin Shujian summoned the alchemy rule. Instantly, the long river of rules rushed over, and the entire Qin Yuan realm trembled. The vast long river of rules descended. Qin Shujian's strength rose steadily, and the aura on his body became as heavy as a mountain. Boom! The aura swept across the world. The entire Qian Yuan realm felt this terrifying power, and everyone's face was filled with shock. It's about 4 times stronger. Qin Shujian felt his strength, and a satisfied expression appeared on his face. Then, he summoned the strength rule again. Boom! Another long river of rules descended. In an instant, the terrifying power shook the entire Qian Yuan realm, causing it to tremble even more violently. Everyone in the Qian Yuan realm felt an irresistible power suppressing their minds, and their breathing became rapid and difficult. The increase has changed from 4 times to 4.5 times. Qin Shujian waved his arm. That terrifying power caused the void in the Qian Yuan realm to crack. But soon, a powerful force mended the shattered void. The alchemy rule's original increase was 4 times, but now that the strength rule had descended, the increase became 4.5 times. This increase was already very strong. Because Qin Shujian focused on the strength rule, the first rule he walked was also the strength rule, and the strength of a 9th-level celestial being increased by about 2.5 times. As for the alchemy rule, because it was comprehended later, it couldn't receive the full increase, only half of the original increase. In other words, the 4 times increase in alchemy rule became 2 times. Combined with the strength rule of 2.5 times increase, it transformed into 4.5 times. In other words, his current combat power of 73,000 could directly transform to nearly 330,000. Coupled with the increase of lawful embodiment of heaven and earth, it directly broke through the 400,000 barrier. 400,000 combat power. Senior, do you think I have the ability to fight against an immortal now? Qin Shujian canceled all the rules and finally had a general understanding of his current strength. After waiting for a long time, Godslayer didn't reply. Qin Shujian had to call out again. Senior? Oh, you're calling me. Only then did Godslayer come back to his senses in a fluster. After coming back to his senses, he coughed lightly and asked uncertainly, "Did you really just comprehend the alchemy rule? Don't lie to me. We've known each other for so long. You should be honest. After all, you know that trust is the most important thing between people. By the way, other than the alchemy rule, do you have any other rules that you've comprehended? If so, let's talk about it openly so that I can be prepared." This was King newly comprehended rule. It was so condensed that it was about to reach the standard of Tao attainment. Godslayer didn't believe Qin Shujian's nonsense at all now. He realized there was no longer any trust between people. Haha, it's not easy to comprehend 2 rules. How can it be so easy to comprehend the third one? Qin Shujian smiled and then said, "With my current strength, is it possible for me to fight against an immortal?" He was more concerned about this question. Godslayer said in a low voice, "More or less. With your current strength, it's possible for you to fight against an immortal, but it's still not enough. After all, the increase of the rules is one thing, but your foundation isn't enough, so the increase won't be of much use." Hearing this, Qin Shujian also understood. To put it bluntly, it was just that his basic combat power was too weak, so the increase wouldn't be of much use. In this way, Qin Shujian also temporarily gave up on the idea of upgrading the Ancestral Foundry Codex. At the 3rd stage of Alchemy Grandmaster, one could comprehend the rules. Then at the 3rd stage of Alchemy Grandmaster and Array Grandmaster, one could also comprehend the rules. In fact, there might also be 2 rules. Afterward, Qin Shujian entered the mother stream of rules again. This time, he entered the long river of power rules. The moment he entered, Qin Shujian felt a strong pressure surging from the long river. It seemed that because of the aura of other rules on his body, the long river of rules in front of him became unstable. The river water surged. The originally calm river water now had waves rising with every few steps Qin Shujian took, as if wanting to swallow him. Such an obstacle. It forced Qin Shujian to take action and suppress the waves. But even so, the pressure of every step forward was more than twice as strong as before. Not only that, even the power rules that were originally easy to comprehend had become obscure and difficult to understand. In an instant, Qin Shujian understood that this was the difficulty of walking two rules at the same time. Adding one more law would already double the original difficulty level. If there are one or two more laws, the difficulty level will become even higher. No wonder true immortals would choose to take the second law. It is because there is no way forward for the first law. According to this difficulty, walking two rules at the same time, maybe neither side will end well. He finally understood the difficulty of the two rules. However, Qin Shujian, on the other hand, was not too worried. After all, for someone like him, it was enough to use his life source to upgrade. At most, when upgrading, he would need more life source. Now that I have upgraded to the third stage of Alchemy Grandmaster, I have already consumed 100 billion life source. If it is 100 times increase, the next upgrade may be more than 10 trillion. With the current speed of my life sources upgrade, 10 trillion life source will probably take less than 7 or 8 years. Qin Shujian secretly estimated. In 7 or 8 years, he would be promoted to the realm of Saint Alchemy Grandmaster. In other words, he didn't need to do anything. In 7 or 8 years, he could become an immortal on the spot. This speed was already considered very fast. However, Qin Shujian wasn't sure if he would open up a rule battlefield when he became an immortal, or if he would directly become an immortal. Similarly, after upgrading to Sacred Alchemy Master, he wasn't sure which level of true immortal he would be at. If it was still 100 times increase, in that case, the next upgrade might be trillions of life sources. It could be said that was a bottomless pit. Qin Shujian muttered to himself, if that's the case, I'll only be able to raise my alchemy, forging, and formation skills to the level of a saint at most. As for any higher level, it's not worth it to use my life force to raise them. 1 trillion to one stage, I might as well do it myself. But even so, he also discovered another benefit of using his life source to upgrade. That was, the number of rules he had mastered was a few more than others. As long as he could upgrade the other rules to the sacred level, which was also the level of true immortal, then if he used the power rule to become an immortal, it would be equivalent to mastering at least 3 paths of true immortal. In this way, his strength would definitely become an extremely powerful existence among true immortals. But how strong was this? Qin Shujian wasn't sure. Although after breaking through to true immortal, what was competing was the rules. But he felt that the strength of a true immortal shouldn't be as simple as comparing rules. Physical strength was also a huge factor. Then, Qin Shujian looked at the long river of rules again. Seeing that another wave was coming, he directly retreated from the power rule. In the Qin Yuan realm, after walking through the power rule once, Qin Shujian already had a good understanding of the current state. He then asked again, if I walk out of the third rule, how is the increase calculated? You walked out of the third rule? The god-slaying saber asked. That tone seemed to say that it was indeed so. Qin Shujian was speechless. Senior, you're thinking too much. I was just asking casually. Hee. The god-slaying saber replied with a smile. Then, he also explained, the more rules there are, the less the increase. If the third rule's original increase is 60%, then the real increase is only 5%. The rest of the rules are the same, decreasing in order. Therefore, there's no benefit in walking too many paths at the same time. The increase can only be said to be minimal. It's true. Walking 2 rules is already your limit. If you walk too many, you might have to wander around the celestial being realm for the rest of your life. There's no way for you to break through to true immortal. If you don't become an immortal, you'll always be an ant. Godslayer said seriously. No matter when, if you don't become an immortal, you're just an ant-like figure. Even now, it was the same. In his opinion, even if Qin Shujian's strength could reach the level of a true immortal, he would only be the weakest true immortal. One had to know. Among the 9 levels of immortals, the difference between each level was huge. Killing immortals with a celestial being. Even if he could really do it, he would only be the weakest true immortal. A powerful true immortal facing a celestial being cultivator was like facing an ant. He could wipe them out with a wave of his hand. You should have seen Xia Yi, right? At his peak, he was a middle 3 levels true immortal. In the end, he only used a wisp of his remnant soul. His strength is at most equivalent to a first or second level true immortal at his peak. Godslayer gave an example. Xia Yi's strength was only equivalent to a first or second level true immortal at his peak, but he could hang the demon emperor up and beat him. If the demon race's true immortal didn't make a move, the demon emperor definitely wouldn't be able to last 3 moves in Xia Yi's hands. From this, it could be seen. The strength of a true immortal was completely overwhelming compared to those below the true immortal realm. Even if Qin Shujian was only at the 6th level of the celestial being realm, Godslayer wouldn't be able to deal with him easily, because a true immortal was really too strong. 9th level immortal. Every level could change the heavens and the earth. That kind of strength was not something that those below the true immortal realm could understand. If Qin Shujian really walked 3 paths at the same time, then this future emperor of heaven would really be crippled. To Godslayer's words, Qin Shujian simply replied with one word. The other party didn't have a source of life. He didn't understand the mystery behind it. Besides, the source of life was his own thing, and he didn't want a second person to know about it. However, Godslayer's words reminded him. Now, there was no need to waste another 100 billion source of life to upgrade the ancestral canon of casting. After the second rule, the increase would gradually decrease. As a result, it was better to leave the source of life to improve his own strength. That way, on the contrary, it could make his strength stronger. At this moment, because of the vast aura just now, the Qin Yuan realm had not completely calmed down. Only some people saw the location of the long river of laws, which was at the main branch of the Yuan sect. There. But where Emperor Qin was, there was no need to think about it. The Qin Emperor was the only one who could have caused such a disturbance. So, these people didn't panic too much. After understanding the problem of walking out of the second and third rules, Qin Shujian got up and headed to the Lion-Tiger Plain again. Breaking through to the 3rd stage of the Alchemy Grandmaster was another trip to the Long River of Laws. He already had a little idea of how to refine the sacred elixir. Of course, with Qin Shujian's current strength, he was not qualified to refine the sacred elixir. However, it was still possible to refine elixirs close to the sacred elixir level. After all, the source of life was upgraded to the highest quality. Although Qin Shujian was a 3rd stage alchemy grandmaster, he was not the simple kind. He had reached the peak of the 3rd stage and was only 1 step away from the sacred elixir master. With such strength, he almost had the capital to refine the sacred elixir. In the Lion-Tiger Plain, Holy Fire was meditating and cultivating. Even the 8th level of the celestial being had not reached the peak of cultivation. One had to know, cultivation was like rowing a boat against the current. If one did not advance, one would fall behind. Therefore, even though Holy Fire had submitted to Qin Shujian, she did not give up on improving her strength. She also hoped that one day, she could reach the 10th level of the celestial being, or even the level of a true immortal. At this moment, a shadow appeared on the Lion-Tiger Plain. Holy Fire, quickly come to see Bin Huang. His calm voice was filled with a great majesty. Holy Fire woke up from her cultivation. Looking at the shadow in the sky, she immediately bowed and said, "This subordinate obeys." In the next moment, she had already left the Lion-Tiger Plain. The hot air was like being in a furnace, only to see a bottomless hole at the top of a mountain peak. A powerful temperature was emitted from it, causing the entire hole to turn fiery red. Qin Shujian stood at the entrance of the hole. He could see the deepest part below. There was hot magma flowing quietly in it. The temperature was enough to prevent ordinary creatures from getting close. Even a cultivator who had cultivated astral energy would find it hard to resist this temperature. However, this temperature had no effect in front of Qin Shujian. Not long after, a vermilion bird flew over from afar. When it was about to land, it had already turned into a human form and appeared beside Qin Shujian. Emperor Qin. Holy Fire bowed respectfully, and then her gaze fell on the crater in front of her. As an expert of the Vermilion Bird Clan, she was no stranger to volcanoes. Because the Vermilion Bird Clan lived in a volcano, and the descendants of the Vermilion Bird Clan could only be successfully born in the magma. When it came to playing with fire, the Vermilion Bird Clan was one of the top clans in the world. The innate divine fire that they controlled was a famous flame in the world. P.S. Requesting monthly votes. Chapter 646. Come down with me. Qin Shujian took a step forward and fell into the volcano. As soon as he entered the volcano, the surrounding temperature rose rapidly, as if it could incinerate a true martial realm cultivator. However, Qin Shujian's expression did not change. Not long after, he had already landed on a rock platform, and in front of him was a flowing river of magma. The height of the magma and the height of the platform were only about 2 feet apart. It was as if it only needed a small fluctuation. It would be able to make the magma hit the platform. Not long after Qin Shujian landed, Fire Sage also appeared beside him. I heard that the Vermilion Bird Clan can unleash greater strength in the magma. I wonder if that's true? Qin Shujian looked at the magma in front of him with his hands behind his back and said calmly, "These things." He only heard it from Godslayer. Fire Sage heard this and nodded. Indeed, it's not just magma. As long as it's a place with strong fire attributes, the strength of the Vermilion Bird Clan will increase. Vermilion Bird Clan. They were born with the ability to control divine fire. At this point, Fire Sage laughed proudly. It's not that this subordinate is arrogant, but no flame can do anything to the Vermilion Bird Clan, and the Vermilion Bird Clan is also the controller of all the flames in the world. Hearing this, Qin Shujian wanted to throw a red lotus of purgation over and let Fire Sage see who was the father. But after thinking about it, he still didn't do so. It wasn't easy to find a helper who could use the innate divine fire. If he was gone just like that, it would be a loss. Moreover, Fire Sage was also obedient. This was enough. Qin Shujian didn't have many requirements for his subordinates, as long as they were obedient. Disobedient. No matter how outstanding their ability was, he wouldn't use it. Ben Huang wants to refine pills. With the help of the magma, your innate divine fire should be even stronger. Qin Shujian said, "Actually, it's fine without magma. This subordinate's innate divine fire is enough for Qin Huang to refine stage 9 pills." No, Ben Huang wants to refine a 10th tier medicinal pill. Qin Shujian shook his head and said, "A 10th tier medicinal pill?" Hua Shang's pretty face was filled with astonishment. Since when were pills divided into 10 grades? Everyone knew that. Tier 9 medicinal pills were the pinnacle. Any higher, and there didn't seem to be anything else, right? The Vermilion Bird Tribe's inheritance had been severely damaged. Holy Fire also didn't know about the existence of sacred pill masters. Qin Shujian smiled and said, "Above the 9th stage is the 10th stage. Normally speaking, above the 9th level, it was a sacred pill. However, the pills he was refining now were definitely beyond the 9th tier, but they had yet to reach the level of a saint pill. That was why it was called a 10th grade pill." Qin Shujian was sure. Now, the only Grandmaster of Alchemy in the 4 great continents who had reached the 3rd stage should be him. Since that was the case, he had the final say on how to name it. Fire Sage said suspiciously, "I have never heard of a 10th tier pill before." "You're not the only one who hasn't heard of it. Others haven't heard of it either." Qin Shujian shook his head and smiled confidently. "But after this, everyone in the world will know of the existence of the 10th tier medicinal pill. Because the 10th tier medicinal pill is refined by Ben Huang." He faintly pretended to be tough. Qin Shujian didn't say much nonsense. With a wave of his hand, a huge cauldron appeared and landed directly on the magma. The cauldron fell into the magma and should have sunk. But there was an invisible hand that held up the entire cauldron. "Innate divine fire," Qin Shujian shouted softly. Fire Sage didn't have time to be shocked. He immediately revealed his vermilion bird form and urged the innate divine fire to burn the cauldron. In an instant, the originally green cauldron gradually turned red under the burning of the innate divine fire. But this was a Tao artifact cauldron after all. Although the innate divine fire was strong, Fire Sage didn't completely master it. Naturally, it wasn't qualified to burn a Tao artifact. While the innate divine fire was burning, Qin Shujian took out the materials and placed them in the cauldron. Then, he concentrated and kept forming seals with both hands, placing them into the cauldron one after another. Time passed little by little. One spiritual material after another was placed into the cauldron by Qin Shujian. Gradually, a dense aura came out of the cauldron. In the void, a long river of laws appeared. Those were the laws of alchemy. Fire Sage controlled the innate divine fire while looking at the long river of laws in front of her. There was a curious and puzzled look in her eyes. She remembered. Qin Shujian's laws didn't seem to be like this. Although each law looked the same from the outside, it made the aura different. Fire Sage had seen Qin Shujian use the law of strength and remembered that aura. The long river of laws in front of her. It wasn't the law of strength at all. Could it be? Qin Shujian has taken the second path. Thinking of a certain possibility, Fire Sage was shocked. The second law? This was no small matter. Suddenly, she felt that she seemed to have discovered some incredible secret. Then, Fire Sage looked at Qin Shujian with a cautious gaze. It was as if her big secret had been discovered. One was not good. She might have to silence him. Thinking of this, Fire Sage hurriedly looked away, not daring to look at the law of alchemy again. She was afraid that she would be killed by Qin Shujian. After all, the second law was no small matter. If it was spread out, it would definitely cause a huge uproar. Qin Shujian didn't care about Fire Sage's thoughts. The second law, in his opinion, was no big secret. It was his true secret. It was the existence of the source of life. Apart from this, the second rule was nothing at all. As long as he wanted, he could take the third or even the fourth law. It was unknown how long it lasted. The cauldron suddenly shook violently. Then, a thick smoke floated out from inside. The smell of burning, accompanied by a fresh sweetness, spread in the air. Qin Shujian's face suddenly darkened. He failed. His first alchemy operation failed just like that. The most embarrassing thing was, he had just boasted that he could refine a 10th level elixir, but in the end, he failed. No matter how thick-skinned Qin Shujian was, he still felt very embarrassed now. Fortunately, when he looked at Fire Sage, the other party didn't show any strange expression on his face. Seeing this, Qin Shujian was a little relieved. Then, he opened the cauldron and took out the burned residue inside. Then, he calmed his mind and began the second alchemy journey again. I can't fail again. Qin Shujian secretly encouraged himself. The first failure was pardonable. If he failed again and again, it would be really embarrassing. Moreover, the spiritual materials he had stored couldn't support too many failures. In the current situation, as long as he failed 4 or 5 more times, there would be no more materials. He was full of confidence as last time. This time, Qin Shujian was much more cautious. Every step of control was done with great concentration, not daring to slack off in the slightest. A few more days passed. In the sky, there was a 5-colored glow looming. Such a vision also attracted the attention of many people. The 5-colored glow. Could it be that some kind of treasure has appeared? I remember that it's a volcano. Could it be that there is some kind of treasure hidden in the magma? Let's go. The cultivators who saw the 5-colored glow couldn't wait to rush there. The word, treasure. It was enough to tempt everyone. Who didn't want to get a treasure? As long as they got it, even if they couldn't use it themselves, they could give it to the Qinyuan sacred ground and get great benefits. For a time, many cultivators flew in the air. As for those cultivators who hadn't reached the airborne realm, they flinched. Because the temperature in the volcano's crater was too hot. Real martial realm cultivators couldn't resist it at all. If they were careless, they would be in danger of dying. Therefore, even if a treasure appeared, real martial realm cultivators wouldn't be able to compete for it. Therefore, those who set off were basically cultivators in the airborne realm and stronger. It was also at this time, a list flew out of the volcano's crater and directly pressed against the sky. A terrifying power spread out. All the cultivators who were flying in the air couldn't help but fall down. The heaven list, that's the Qin Emperor's heaven list. Hiss. The cultivators who could fly in the air weren't weak, so they wouldn't be injured if they fell from the air. They looked at the list in the sky that was suppressing the void. They couldn't help but show a look of horror in their eyes. The heaven list? How could they not recognize the heaven list? In every Qinyuan sacred ground, there was a sublist, which was the power of the Heaven List. As long as they were knowledgeable cultivators, they would recognize the Heaven List. The real Heaven List was only in the hands of the Qin Emperor. Now that the Heaven List appeared there, then there was no doubt that the Qin Emperor had also appeared here. Suddenly, those cultivators extinguished the idea of competing for the treasure. The Qin Emperor was here. How could others have the chance to compete? However, those cultivators didn't leave. Instead, they looked at the vision in the sky from afar and the Heaven List that was suppressing the void. The Heaven List was the legendary 8-seal Dao artifact. It was also the highest level Dao artifact in the human clan. It was comparable to it, probably only the human clan's monument. However, the human clan's monument was in the hands of Emperor Zhao. The Heaven List was in the hands of the Qin Emperor. Many people hoped to see this 8-seal Dao artifact and pry into its mysteries. Looking at the Heaven List in the sky, a cultivator sighed and said, "The power of the 8-seal Dao artifact is not something that ordinary people can understand. Just by looking at it from afar, I feel that the spirit god is about to be suppressed." That's right. I heard that when the Qin Emperor refined the Heaven List, he also suppressed a foreign emperor and sacrificed the emperor's blood to the Heaven List. I know. The one who died was Emperor Qiju. A cultivator immediately answered. Few people in the eastern continent didn't know about the battle in the human clan's territory. The death of Emperor Qiju. It was also the foundation of Qin Shujian's title as the emperor. He had killed a ruler. The Qin Emperor was recognized as having the strength of an emperor. It was only natural that he would do so. Inside the volcano, Qin Shujian was still refining pills. He sensed that there were cultivators coming over. He was worried that someone would disturb him, so he used the Heaven List to intimidate everyone. At this moment, Qin Shujian had already focused all his attention on the furnace in front of him. A powerful force was being born from inside. That force, it made Holy Fire a little shocked. If the furnace exploded now, even a cultivator at the 8th level of the celestial being realm would be severely injured. So, the stronger the aura of the furnace, the faster Holy Fire's heart beat. She was also afraid of death. If the furnace exploded because of the pills and she was killed in the end, it would be too funny. Don't be distracted. Sensing Holy Fire's strange behavior, Qin Shujian's eyes were cold as he coldly glanced at her. That glance, it made Holy Fire feel as if she had fallen into an ice cellar. She felt that if the alchemy failed because of her this time, Qin Shujian would definitely not be merciful. Instantly, the threat of death made Holy Fire quickly calm down and not dare to be distracted. Another half a day passed. Qin Shujian suddenly shouted, "Condense!" Boom! The lid of the furnace was suddenly lifted. 5 streams of light rushed into the sky and were about to go to the sky. At the same time, tribulation clouds gathered in the sky, and lightning bombarded down densely. Seeing this, Qin Shujian immediately moved his divine thought. The alchemy Dao rule crossed the sky and instantly saw the long river engulfing the 5 streams of light. Immediately afterward, he reached out his hand and grabbed in the air. His aura condensed the void and forcibly restricted the 5 streams of light. As the streams of light were restricted, suddenly, the original form of the pills was revealed. "Come back." Qin Shujian waved his hand, and the 5 pills flew back to him. The next moment, 5 pills the size of half a baby's fist were seen spinning in front of him. The pills were crystal clear like jade, and the aura was dense. The 5 pills were slightly undulating as if they were breathing. Each of the pills exuded a powerful aura. 10th level pills. Holy Fire looked at the pills in front of her, and her pretty face finally changed color. In her eyes, the 5 pills were not as simple as pills. They were more like living creatures. The aura emitted by each pill was not weaker than that of a cultivator at the peak of the god martial realm. As the pills breathed in spiritual energy, the aura grew stronger. Holy Fire had always thought that the 10th level pills Qin Shujian spoke of were fake, but now it seemed. She realized that she had been a frog in a well. In her spiritual sea, Godslayer said, "Any pill that surpasses the 9th level is a living creature. These creatures are called the Pill Clan. They are pills that have turned into spirits and can also breathe in the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to cultivate. But they are different from other creatures. If you can swallow the pill clan, you will have great benefits. The pills in your hands have surpassed the 9th level. There is no problem in classifying them as 10th level, but they are still one step away from being a saint pill. But it is this step that makes the pills lose the power that a saint pill should have. Looking at the 10th level pills in front of her, Godslayer took the initiative to explain something, which was rare. A saint pill master. In ancient times, they were extremely rare. Saint pill masters were rare. Saint pills were even rarer. Every single saint elixir pill contained endless mysteries. In Godslayer's opinion, the 5 pills that Qin Shujian refined were very close to being saint pills, but they were still a little short. Although they are not saint pills, they are enough. Qin Shujian smiled faintly. Soon after, he stored all 5 revival pills into the heavenly ranking. The pills had turned into spirits. Rather than saying that these were 5 10th level pills, it was better to say that they were 5 cultivators at the peak of the god martial realm. However, although the 10th level pills were refined by him, it did not mean that these pills would submit to him. Moreover, Qin Shujian did not intend to make these pills submit. What he wanted was the effects of the pills. After putting away the pills, Qin Shujian looked at Holy Fire and said lightly, "Recover and refine pills again." "Yes, master." Holy Fire came back to her senses and nodded respectfully. She did not ask too much about the 10th level pills. There were some things. It was not something she should know, so she should not know too much. Otherwise, it might not be a good thing. Half a day passed. Qin Shujian lit up the cauldron again to refine a new pill. 5 Providence pills were already enough. The rest, what he wanted to refine was a pill that he would need for future battles. After refining a furnace of pills of fortune, Qin Shujian became more proficient in his alchemy methods. I just refined the pills of fortune and used a drop of Ling Huang's blood essence. Now there are 2 drops left. Combined with other spiritual materials, I should be able to refine 2 furnaces of pills. Flipping through the memories in his mind, he quickly threw in the corresponding spiritual materials. This time, Qin Shujian wanted to refine the hallowed pill, a kind of pill that could heal physical injuries and spiritual injuries. It was just that the hallowed pill was extremely difficult to refine. If it was in the past when he was at the 2nd stage of Alchemy Grandmaster, he would not dare to try it easily. But now, Qin Shujian, however, was confident. In the following period of time, there would often be strange phenomena in the sky. Following the appearance of the strange phenomena, occasionally, lightning would fall from the sky. Many things happened, which naturally attracted the attention of other cultivators. However, there was the suppression of the heaven list. No one dared to approach it easily. A month and a half passed. 2 furnaces of pills were successfully refined. 3 pills were produced in the 1st furnace. 4 pills were produced in the 2nd furnace. In total, a total of 7 pills were successfully refined. Looking at the pills that were imprisoned in the heaven list, Qin Shujian let out a long sigh of relief. 7 pills, that's about it. The materials were gone. Most importantly, the blood essence of a Nirvana realm expert was gone. If one wanted to refine a 10th level pill, the spiritual materials needed to be consumed were all top-notch. Not only that, the blood essence of a powerhouse was also indispensable. Without the blood essence of a Nirvana realm expert, it would be difficult to refine a 10th level pill. If I want to refine it again, I can only think of a way to find 2 more emperors to kill. Qin Shujian made an estimation in his mind. Subsequently, he looked at Holy Fire, who had consumed a lot of energy, and said, "You have contributed a lot this time. If you have any requests, just say it. As long as it's not too excessive, Bin Huang can satisfy you." It's my honor to be able to serve Emperor Qin. How could I dare to ask for anything in return? Holy Fire said softly. Qin Shujian nodded slightly. In that case, you can go back to the Lion-Tiger Plain to recuperate. Yes, sir. Holy Fire took the lead and left. Qin Shujian looked at the surrounding environment, then took a step forward and left the magma range. Qian Yuan Realm. Main vein. Qin Shujian returned quietly. It took about a month and a half to refine the recovery pill, and another month and a half to refine the hollow pill. Back and forth. In total, it took about 3 months. In 3 months, the source of life had risen a lot again, officially breaking through the 600 billion threshold. However, when the source of life broke through to 600 billion, there was still no hope for the Guiyuan ancestral code to improve. Regarding this, Qin Shujian also frowned. From the 5th level of the celestial being to the 6th level of the celestial being, the source of life cost more than 400 billion. From the 6th level of the celestial being to the 7th level of the celestial being, I estimate it to be around 500 to 600 billion. But looking at the current situation, I'm afraid it's more than that. In that case, to reach the 7th level of the celestial being, the source of life required is much more than I imagined. The 6th level of the celestial being was the saint. The 7th level of the celestial being could be called a mighty figure. Among the 10 levels of the celestial being, there were a total of 3 levels that would undergo a transformation. The first was the span from the 3rd level of the celestial being to the 4th level. The second was the span from the 6th level to the 7th level, and the last was the span from the 9th level to the 10th level. Every time the span was crossed, after the breakthrough, there would be a huge increase in strength. The current situation. Qin Shujian vaguely knew that the transformation from the 6th level of the celestial being to the 7th level of the celestial being was huge, so the source of life required was more than he imagined. However, I have a hunch that I shouldn't need too much source of life to break through now. When it reaches about 1 trillion, I should be able to successfully break through. The source of life was 600 billion. According to the current growth rate, it wouldn't take long for it to break through 1 trillion. Qin Shujian had told Emperor Zhao that it would take a year. Now, only about 3 months had passed. There were still 9 months left. In these 9 months, he had enough confidence to break through to the 7th level of the celestial being. Later on, Qin Shujian stayed quietly in the Qian Yuan realm. When he was free, he would swim in the nomological river. Now, the difficulty of comprehending the laws of strength had increased. So, the time he needed to spend would also increase. Qin Shujian, who was swimming in the nomological river, had just suppressed a rising wave. Just as he was about to take a step forward, a palpitating feeling suddenly surged in his heart. "Who's looking for me?" He had a puzzled look on his face. The palpitating feeling was because someone outside had touched him. In the entire Qian Yuan realm, the only one who could come into contact with him at this time was Godslayer. Although he was puzzled, however, Qin Shujian still retreated from the river of laws. His divine consciousness returned to his body. Qin Shujian opened his eyes and saw Gong Mingze in front of him, who looked a little flustered. He couldn't help but frown. "Elder Gong, why are you so flustered?" Gong Mingze's mission was to secretly protect Ningbo. At this time, the other party appeared. He instinctively thought of something. However, Qin Shujian wasn't too nervous. Ningbo was a person with great luck. Even if he encountered any problems, he wouldn't die easily. More importantly, the means he left for the other party hadn't been triggered yet. In other words, Ningbo was most likely in some trouble, but it wasn't life-threatening. Just for a moment, Qin Shujian figured out the crux of the matter. On the other side, when Gong Mingze saw that Qin Shujian had woken up, he immediately reacted and said in a flustered tone, "Emperor Qin, Ningbo has fallen into a secret realm. I'm afraid it's not good." "Don't panic. Tell me slowly." Qin Shujian comforted him. His calm words seemed to be able to affect people's minds, causing Gong Mingze's nervous emotions to gradually calm down. After taking a deep breath, Gong Mingze then told him about the matter. After a while, Qin Shujian finally understood the matter. It was nothing more than Ningbo challenging the cultivators on the true martial role in various parts of the eastern continent during this period of time, and also indirectly made a few friends. Then, when they heard that a secret realm left behind by an expert had opened somewhere, they went together to take a look. For this kind of thing, Gong Mingze didn't intend to stop them at first. Anyway, it wasn't strange to search for treasures in secret realms. His role was only to be Ningbo's guardian. As long as the other party's life wasn't in danger, he didn't need to care about anything else. However, after the other party entered the secret realm, Gong Mingze realized that something was wrong. 2 months later, Ningbo didn't even walk out of the secret realm. Not only that, many of the cultivators who followed him into the secret realm also died. After all, those who had befriended Ning Yu were all talented and held high positions in their sections. Therefore, they had all left their soul lamps behind. In the end, now that the soul lamp was extinguished and the experts of the sect came, Gong Mingze knew that things were troublesome. Then, he tried to break into the secret realm with a few experts of the sect, but found that they couldn't break in at all. The expert who opened up the secret realm was far stronger than them. So, Gong Mingze had no choice but to return to the Qian Yuan realm to ask for help. A secret realm opened up by an expert. Qin Shujian tapped his fingers on the stone table gently, his expression as calm as ever. Although the eastern continent couldn't be compared to the other 3 continents, it had existed for millions of years. For millions of years, countless experts had been born throughout the years. It was normal for secret realms to be left behind. However, as so many years had passed, the secret realms left behind by the experts of the past had basically been obtained by others. Therefore, there weren't many secret realms left in the wild. Qin Shujian didn't expect it either. Not long after Ningbo left the Qian Yuan realm, he met one. A person of great luck. Qin Shujian finally understood what kind of person was truly blessed with great fortune. From the beginning, it was Ning Fu's luck that she was able to meet him. The other party could join the Yuan sect because of his luck. Now, it was also because of his luck that he could encounter a secret realm when he went out to train. Qin Shujian had a feeling. Even if he didn't help this time, Ningbo might not really die. Maybe he could benefit from the disaster and get a lot of opportunities. But even so, he couldn't really do nothing. Qin Shujian moved his mind, and then the Qian Yuan realm opened. Not long after, 2 people appeared in front of him. Greetings, Emperor Qin. Jizhou and Wu Shan both bowed. Qin Shujian looked at Gong Mingze and said, "These 2 are Jizhou from the Thousand Pupil clan and Wu Shan from the Broken Mountain clan. They are both experts of the 8th level of the Heaven-Human realm. They will go with you." Then, he looked at the 2 and said, "This is the elder of the Yuan sect. This time, the disciples of Bin Huang are trapped in the secret realm. You 2 can deal with them. Elder Gong will be in charge of everything here." "Yes, sir." Jizhou and Wu Shan accepted the order respectfully. They didn't feel dissatisfied just because Gong Mingze was only at the peak of the God Martial Arts realm. Even Yo Dali, who was only at the early stage of the God Martial Arts realm, had acknowledged him, let alone an elder at the peak of the God Martial Arts realm. Gong Mingze. Looking at Jizhou and Wu Shan, his expression changed slightly. Experts of the 8th level of the Heaven-Human realm. He didn't expect Qin Shujian to have such subordinates. The Thousand Pupil clan. The Broken Mountain clan. Gong Mingze had never heard of these 2 clans. But it was normal. There were too many clans in the 4 continents. He was only an elder at the God Martial Arts realm. How much could he know? He thought to himself. Gong Mingze cupped his hands politely. "I'm Gong Mingze. I'll leave the rest to the 2 of you." "Elder Gong, you're too polite," Jizhou said with a smile. Then, the 3 of them left the Qian Yuan realm. After the 3 of them left, Qin Shujian didn't pay too much attention to them. He continued his cultivation journey. With Jizhou and Wu Shan's help, there shouldn't be any problems. After all, there weren't many mighty figures in the eastern continent, let alone experts of the 8th level of the Heaven-Human realm. They could snatch wild secret realms. They couldn't stop the 2 of them. Besides, Ningbo still had his life-saving trump card. There shouldn't be any problems. If he died so easily, then it could only be said that his luck wasn't very good. In the crowded side hall, Ningbo was hiding back and forth in a panic. His clothes were stained with blood. Damn it! Why are there so many powerful demonic beasts here? I haven't found the entrance to the secret realm. Am I really going to be trapped here? He didn't know how much time had passed since he came in here. At first, he just came to explore this secret realm with a few friends he just met. He wanted to find some opportunities. When he entered, he saw a huge palace. The palace contained a large number of side halls. At first, they did find some elixirs and treasures in a few side halls. But not long after, they were attacked by demonic beasts. Nyingbo didn't expect that there were not only treasures in the side halls, but also fatal dangers. The demonic beasts that came out of the side halls. The weakest ones were in the physical invulnerability realm. The strongest ones were in the spiritual martial realm. Such demonic beasts, naturally, they couldn't be dealt with by a few real martial realm cultivators. So after encountering the demonic beasts, some people inevitably died. Next, Nyingbo was separated from the others. He hid in many side halls. While avoiding the attacks of the demonic beasts, he looked for the exit of the secret realm. Although he was panicking now, but he wasn't too scared. Because Nyingbo remembered that when he just left the Qianyuan realm, his master said that he had given him a life-saving trump card. If he was in real danger, it would naturally be triggered. This was also his real confidence. However, Nyingbo wasn't 100% sure that this trump card would really work. He wouldn't expose himself to the demonic beasts and try to trigger the trump card left by Qin Shujian. If it was really triggered and successfully took him away, it would be fine. If it failed, or it could only work for a while after being triggered, but it wouldn't give him a chance to leave the secret realm. That would be awkward. It wasn't that Nyingbo didn't trust his master, but he believed in himself more. Unless it's a last resort, I still can't risk my life to try it. Seeing that there were still some resources left in the storage ring, he felt a little relieved. The real martial arts realm. He hadn't really reached the level where he could live without eating and only rely on the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. But at this realm, he could go without food for 10 days to half a month. In addition, the spiritual qi in the secret realm was abundant. Nyingbo felt that with the resources in his hands, as long as he didn't encounter powerful demonic beasts, he could at least hold on for a year and a half. After making sure that there was no problem with food, he began to observe his surroundings. Every side hall here was similar, so it was difficult to distinguish too much at once. There are demonic beasts in some side halls, and there are treasures in some side halls. But demonic beasts generally won't break into other palaces without permission, unless they sense the existence of outsiders. So what I need to do now is to find a palace without demonic beasts, and then find a way to break through my cultivation first. Otherwise, with my current strength, it'll be more dangerous if I wander here for too long. Combined with his own situation, Nyingbo quickly came up with a compromise. As for why he knew some of the habits of these demonic beasts, it was because his teammates paid the price with their lives. During the time in the secret realm, his cultivation had broken through from the 4th level of the true martial realm to the 5th level of the true martial realm. Nyingbo felt, if he could break through to the 7th level of the true martial realm, his strength would increase greatly. At that time, he would rely on his own strength. Even if he encountered a spirit god realm demonic beast, he would be confident in killing it. After making up his mind, Nyingbo spread out his perception and then carefully walked through the group of side halls. He didn't open the door of the side hall without permission because no one dared to be sure whether there were treasures or demonic beasts inside. After a long time, Nyingbo looked at the tightly shut door of the side hall. After hesitating for a moment, he carefully opened a corner of the door. The corner of the side hall opened. He immediately stood to the side and silently waited for time to pass. 15 minutes later, there was no movement at all. Nyingbo relaxed a little, and then his figure flashed, and he quickly entered the side hall, and then he closed the door behind him. In the mountains, Gongmingza and Jizhou arrived at this place. There were quite a few cultivators here, but now they were all gone. To this, Gongmingza wasn't too surprised. The secret realm couldn't be opened. Except for Nyingbo, all the disciples who entered the secret realm had died. In this situation, people from other sects naturally wouldn't stay here. Gentlemen, the secret realm is behind the stone wall. Gongmingza pointed at a huge cliff in front of him and said in a deep voice, "There is a sealing power in the stone wall. I tried to break it, but there was no way." There is indeed a powerful sealing power. Jizhou nodded slightly. The clues of the stone wall in front of him naturally couldn't escape his eyes. In my opinion, the person who set up the seal should be a powerful expert, but the secret realm in front of us is much worse than the Qianyuan realm. Let me take a look first. After Jizhou finished speaking, his face, which was no different from a normal person, suddenly changed. His mouth and nose disappeared. Instead, they were replaced by dense eyes. Such a change, it shocked Gong Mingze. But after all, he had cultivated for more than 2,000 years, so he wouldn't be so timid. Although he was shocked by Jizhou's change, he didn't show it on his face. Thousand Pupil Clan. Gong Mingze thought of what Qin Shujian had said, and finally had some understanding of this clan. After a long time, the eyes on Jizhou's face disappeared, and he returned to his previous appearance. He smiled faintly and said, "Found it. P.S. I wanted to update 3 times, but I realized that I couldn't. So I'll update 2 times. 18,000 is still okay, and I don't think it's too little. As for the update time, because it will be released immediately after I finish writing, there is no fixed time for it to be released. After 2 days, I should be able to release 2 at the same time, and there will be no need to separate them." Chapter 647. The Thousand Pupil Clan. They could see through the array formation of the secret realm. The powerful experts of the Thousand Pupil Clan could even see through small worlds. Although Jizhou was not the emperor of the Thousand Pupil Clan, he was still a powerhouse in the 8th level of the heaven-human realm, the secret realm in front of him. If his estimation was correct, when the creator of the secret realm was in the 7th or 8th level of the heaven-human realm, he would not exceed the 9th level of the heaven-human realm. As such, the sealing power of the secret realm was still not enough to block Jizhou's vision. Gong Mingze asked anxiously, "What did you see?" "Demonic beasts, many demonic beasts, but their strength is average. Most of them are between the true martial realm and the spirit martial realm. There are only 3 demonic beasts in the god martial realm, but they are all sealed and have not escaped for the time being. If I'm not wrong, this secret realm should be the tomb of a certain cultivator. Those demonic beasts are the guardians of the tomb," Jizhou said. After taking a few simple glances, he had more or less figured out the situation of the secret realm. "Have you found Ningbo?" "I found the sacred son. He is currently hiding in a side hall. I don't see any danger for the time being, but there are some things in the side hall. It shouldn't be a big problem." Jizhou shook his head and said, "Elder Gong, didn't you say that Emperor Qin left some tricks on the sacred son? With Emperor Qin's tricks, this secret realm won't be able to hurt the sacred son at all." He had confidence in Qin Shujian's strength. He had absolute confidence. A secret realm created by a cultivator in the 9th level of the heaven-human realm could threaten the successor of a half-immortal. That was just a joke. Even if the half-immortal left some tricks behind, it was enough to make this secret realm useless. It would be fine if it was a living 9th level of the heaven-human realm, but this secret realm had existed for quite some time. The cultivator who created the secret realm must have passed away. In that case, the secret realm would not be a threat to Ningbo. However, to be on the safe side, Jizhou used the technique of the Thousand Pupil Clan again and then took a serious look at the secret realm. In my opinion, the side hall where the sacred sun is should be the core of the entire secret realm. Oh, there's also a corpse in the side hall. It's probably the owner who created the secret realm. As expected, he has passed away. It seems that the sacred sun will be able to obtain some opportunities this time." As he spoke, his tone was somewhat emotional. There were so many mystic realms. There were no less than 100 side halls, and many demonic beasts had escaped from the side halls. That was it. For Ningbo to be able to find the location of the main hall, Jizhou couldn't help but admire him. When Gong Mingze heard this, his anxious heart also calmed down. It's good that he's fine. If something really went wrong, as a Dao protector, he would not be able to absolve himself of the blame. Originally, he thought that, with his strength, it would not be a problem for him to protect the eastern continent. However, he was slapped in the face by reality not long after. If they encountered a mystic realm, they would have to go back and ask for help. Gong Mingze also felt very awkward about this. After retracting his gaze, Jizhou said in a deep voice, "The stone wall is the entrance to the mystic realm, but it's not an absolute entrance. It's just that the mystic realm is attached to the stone wall. If he was lucky, he could directly open the entrance to the mystic realm. If he was unlucky, the mystic realm might leave the stone wall and escape into the void. At that time, it will be even more difficult to find them." At this point, he turned his head sideways and looked at Wu Shan. The mountain-breaking clan is good at breaking restriction arrays. Brother Wu, are you confident that you can open the entrance to the mystic realm without damaging the foundation of the mystic realm and the stone wall? Every clan had their own strengths. This was especially so for small clans like the Thousand-Pupil clan and the Mountain-Breaking clan. Otherwise, it would be difficult for them to survive in the 4 continents. Natural selection. Survival of the fittest. That was the logic. Wu Shan nodded and smiled confidently. It's just a small mystic realm. It won't be a big problem, but I need some time to prepare. Okay, from the looks of it, the sacred sun is not in any danger. Jizhou replied. As long as Ningbo did not leave the side hall, it would not be a big problem. And judging from his appearance, he did not seem to be a reckless person. Gong Mingze was now completely reduced to a spectator. In front of 2 8th-tier heaven humans, a cultivator at the peak of the god martial arts realm had no right to speak. However, Jizhou still cared about Gong Mingze's reputation and confirmed with him one last time. Elder Gong, do you have anything else to say? You're right. We'll do as you say. Gong Mingze said. Regarding this, Jizhou nodded slightly. Wu Shan also began to prepare to break the mystic realm. In the side hall, Ningbo sized up the surrounding environment. The side hall was very big, and the simple decorations were somewhat different from the other side halls. On the wall in the middle, there was a picture of an yin-yang fish. Ningbo looked down along the yin-yang fish. His pupils suddenly constricted, and he instinctively took 2 steps back. There was a Taoist sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed. His skin was as smooth as jade, and a powerful pressure spread out. Someone's here. This was Ningbo's first reaction, but soon, he sensed that something was wrong. The Taoist in front of him looked no different from a living person, but when he looked carefully, he could still see some subtle differences. His chest was not rising and falling. Although the pressure was powerful, it emitted a decaying and dead aura. The creator of the mystic realm, the fallen powerhouse. Soon, 2 thoughts appeared in Ningbo's mind. Suddenly, his eyes became fiery. As the sacred son of the Qinyuan sacred ground, although not publicly, only a small number of people recognized him. However, Ningbo's knowledge had increased a lot in the past few years. How could a powerhouse who could open up a mystic realm be weak? More importantly, the powerhouse in front of him had been dead for many years, but he could still maintain his physical body without decaying. His pressure had been eroded by time, and he still maintained a powerful level. According to Ningbo's estimation, this fallen powerhouse must have been a diviner when he was alive, and he was not an ordinary diviner. A fallen diviner powerhouse is very likely to have left behind a treasure inheritance. If I can get it, my strength will definitely increase greatly. Thinking of this possibility, Ningbo's breathing became a little rapid. How powerful was a diviner's legacy? He knew very well. The swordsmanship in the library in the past had already given him the ability to dominate the real martial realm. If he could get another diviner's legacy, in that case, his future cultivation would be smooth sailing. As for resources, Ningbo never complained about having too much. Although he was the disciple of the Qin Emperor and was also the sacred son of the Qinyuan sacred ground, in fact, he was still a sacred son. The main reason was, it was the master who did not open any back doors for his disciple. Other than giving him 2 cultivation methods and martial arts, there was nothing else. As for resources, although he had a lot more than ordinary disciples, but it wasn't that much. In this way, if he wanted to quickly improve his cultivation, he still had to rely on himself to fight for it. I have the Guiyuan ancestral scripture, and now the human race has the Qinkuan Dao-seeking scripture and the human emperor's immortal slaying technique. It can be said that in terms of cultivation methods and martial arts, unless they are really powerful, they are not very useful to me. However, the human emperor's immortal slaying technique must be accompanied by the Qinkuan Dao-seeking scripture in order to exert its strongest power. If I cultivate the human emperor's immortal slaying technique alone, it is not considered a powerful divinity martial art. As for the sword move I got, it can barely be considered a divinity martial art. But compared to those top divinity martial arts, there should still be a gap. Ningbo had a clear understanding of himself. Looking at the Taoist in front of him, he hesitated for a moment and finally walked forward. It was very simple. The Taoist's storage ring attracted Ningbo's attention. He had to wear the storage ring on his finger even when he died. There was no need to guess whether there were treasures in it. However, when he walked within 3 feet of the Taoist, whose eyes were originally closed, suddenly opened his eyes at this time. Such an unforeseen event. It made Ningbo have a crazy warning in his heart. Then, without thinking, he wanted to retreat. However, just as he was about to retreat, he found that his body was imprisoned. Then, he saw the dead Taoist open his mouth, and his voice was full of laughter. I didn't expect that when my spirit god was on the verge of annihilation, I could really meet a cultivator who came in. Well, your foundation is good, and your aptitude is excellent. But you should have started cultivation late, so you have only reached the 5th level of the martial realm. But it doesn't matter. After I take over your body, I should cultivate well, and it shouldn't be a problem for me to reach the peak again. Take over? Hearing the words, Ningbo's face suddenly changed greatly. He didn't expect. The owner of the secret realm was not dead. No, it should be that the owner's physical body had died, but the powerful spirit god was still alive, waiting for a chance to take over his body and be reborn. Then, he happened to come to the door. There was no reason. Ningbo thought of something and suddenly said involuntarily, "The secret realm opened. Did you deliberately let us in?" He couldn't move his body now, but there was no problem for him to speak. Hearing this, the Taoist said with a faint smile, "Yes, the secret realm was indeed opened by me. In fact, you are not the first batch of people to enter the secret realm. Unfortunately, none of those who entered the secret realm could find this place. They were all eaten up by the demonic beasts outside. But you are lucky to find this place." Hearing this, Ningbo only felt that he was very unlucky. "After I take over your body, I will definitely use your body to reach the peak. That realm is not something ordinary people can reach. Even with your talent, it will be difficult for you to reach it in the future. You and I will be integrated into one. I will let you feel it." While speaking, the Taoist stood up from the ground. He didn't stand up with his physical body. Instead, the spirit god broke away from the restraint of his physical body and slowly stood up from the ground. In this way, there were 2 Taoists in the side hall. One was the physical body. The other was the spirit god. Seeing the spirit god of the Taoist, Ningbo's face changed again. He said in a deep voice, "You have to think carefully about taking over my body. My master is the human emperor of the human clan and a half-immortal expert. You won't have a good end if you take over my body." At this time, of course, he had to use Qin Shujian's name. He was not sure if the means left by the spirit god on his body could resist the spirit god. If it couldn't, then it would be a big joke. The Taoist paused and looked suspicious. What human emperor and half-immortal? The human emperor of the human clan has been dead for many years. The 10th layer of the celestial being is the peak. How can there be a half-immortal? It's ridiculous. When he died, the strongest human clan was only at the 9th layer of the celestial being. At that time, he was already the peak expert of the human clan. Even the so-called strongest demon emperor in the world was only at the 10th layer of the celestial being. Even if you want to lie, you have to make it up. Now, the human clan should still be persecuted by the demon clan. As a human, you should contribute your physical body. When I reach the peak, I can naturally help the human clan out of their predicament." The Taoist said proudly. "It's over. It's really over." Ningbo looked a little desperate. The Taoist in front of him was not only an ancient expert, but also a country bumpkin. In the other party's era, the 10th layer of the celestial being was the peak. Moreover, the demon clan enslaved the human clan. The demon emperor was the #1 expert in the world. From this, it could be seen. The time of the Taoist's death was at least 10,000 years ago. For such a person, the title of half-immortal could not intimidate him. The title of human emperor was also useless. Right now, he could only hope that the backup plan left behind by Qin Shujian would be useful. Looking at Ningbo in front of him, the Taoist's heart was also burning. He originally thought that if he couldn't find a suitable physical body and passed away here, The demonic beasts outside would be the guardians of his tomb. For him, after he passed away, he didn't want anyone to disturb his corpse. In the end, he was defeated by the demonic beasts. After so many years, many cultivators had entered the mystic realm, but they all died at the hands of the demonic beasts. In the end, not a single cultivator came here. That made the Taoist break down. No matter how powerful the spiritual deity of a mighty figure was, it was almost the limit of 10,000 years when the physical body was already dead. Fortunately, at this moment, Ningbo's arrival made him see hope. While they were talking, the Taoist had already arrived in front of Ningbo. In the next moment, the spiritual deity transformed into a stream of light and entered the space between his eyebrows. In his sea of consciousness, it was chaotic, because the cultivator had not broken through to the spiritual god realm and the spiritual deity had not been completely born. The sea of consciousness naturally could not be opened. The sea of consciousness is vast. If it is opened in the future, the foundation will definitely be strong. After entering the sea of consciousness, the Taoist nodded in satisfaction. The sea of consciousness in front of him was chaotic. However, from the vastness of the sea of consciousness, he could see Ningbo's potential in the future. Although the vastness of the chaotic sea of consciousness was not certain, but the sea of consciousness was vast. It could also be expanded in the future without too much effort. He wandered in the chaotic sea of consciousness. The Taoist was prepared to leave his mark here and then completely take over the physical body. However, just as he was about to leave his mark, the sea of consciousness suddenly shook, and a person that was almost corporeal appeared in front of the Taoist. "Who are you?" The Taoist was shocked. He did not expect that there would be a backup plan left behind by someone else in Ningbo's sea of consciousness. Qin Shujian looked at the person in front of him with an indifferent expression, and his voice was cold. "Do you think you can possess Ben Huang's disciple?" "Human Emperor. You are the current human emperor." The Taoist instantly thought of what Ningbo had said earlier. Human Emperor. He was really the human emperor's disciple. Compared to Qin Shujian's identity as the human emperor, what really shocked the Taoist was the aura emanating from him. That aura. It made the Taoist tremble. He had never felt this way even when he faced the demon emperor in the past. Regarding this, the Taoist instantly thought of what Ningbo had said. Half immortal. There was still a path above the 10 levels of the celestial being realm. Then what kind of realm was a half immortal? Just as the Taoist was bewildered, Qin Shujian was too lazy to talk nonsense with him. He took a step forward, and the chaotic sea of consciousness stirred up stormy waves as if it had entered the end of the world. In front of such a terrifying power, the Taoist felt as weak as an ant. His eyes were filled with horror, and he opened his mouth to say something, but he did not have time to speak. Boom! The impact of the spiritual force directly shattered the Taoist's spirit. He had been worn down for tens of thousands of years, and his spirit was fragile to a certain extent. Now, facing Qin Shujian's attack, there was no room for resistance. The spirit was destroyed. A large amount of spiritual force impacted the sea of consciousness. Soon, he saw that the chaotic sea of consciousness had quietly opened up under the impact of this force. On the other side, when the Taoist spirit was destroyed, Ningbo's body finally returned to normal. Master's backup plan is indeed useful. He felt like he had survived a disaster, although Ningbo did not know what happened in the sea of consciousness. However, now that the Taoist spirit had disappeared, it was obvious that it had been destroyed by someone. And a spirit that could destroy such an expert. Only his master could do it. He heaved a sigh of relief. Ningbo finally looked at the Taoist body. The spirit had lost its existence. The pressure had weakened a lot. The jade-like body's color was slightly dim, but it did not decay immediately. In the Qin Yuan realm, just as the backup plan he had left behind was triggered, Qin Shujian sensed it. The method I left behind has been triggered. This means that Ningbo's life is in danger. He frowned slightly. The backup plan had been triggered. This was not good news. Then, Qin Shujian took out the heaven list. The destiny of the human race was faintly visible on it. Through the existence of the heaven list, He instantly locked onto Ningbo's location. Through the long river of destiny, he could see the scene in the secret realm. When he saw a cultivator's body appear there, Qin Shujian roughly understood what was going on. So it's a cultivator's possession. He was slightly relieved. There was no doubt that the cultivator had failed. As for the remaining problem, it was not a big one. Because at the entrance of the secret realm, Qin Shujian also saw Wu Shan, who was breaking the restriction, as well as Ji Zhou and Gong Mingze. After confirming that Ningbo was fine, only then did he withdraw his attention from the heaven list. Although this disciple was accepted casually, however, it was impossible for Qin Shujian to just ignore it. If he really died in the hands of others, he would definitely have to take revenge. After taking back the heaven list, Qin Shujian continued to swim in the long river of laws. He had nothing to do now. He could only comprehend the laws while waiting for the accumulation of the source of life. Zhongzhou Imperial City. In the palace, Emperor Zhao and Marquis Baiyun sat opposite each other. Marquis Baiyun, why have you come to see me this time? Your Majesty, when are you going to attain the Tao? Marquis Baiyun asked seriously. In 8 months. Emperor Zhao calculated the time and gave an answer. He had promised Qin Shujian that he would delay for a year. 4 months should have passed by now, so there were still 8 months left. It was also because of this. He did not cultivate in seclusion in the secret chamber anymore. Instead, he walked out. For Emperor Zhao, attaining the Tao was something that could happen at any time. There was no need to waste time cultivating anymore. Hearing this, Marquis Baiyun's gaze fell on him, and he said in a deep voice, Your Majesty, are you confident in attaining the Tao? Attaining the Tao depends on man. Of course, I'm confident, but I'm not 100% sure. Emperor Zhao shook his head and said calmly, Marquis Baiyun, you should know that except for the human race, the other races in the 4 great continents probably don't want to see the human race have another true immortal. When the time comes, the obstacles will be inevitable. It's best if you can get through it. If you can't, it's your fate. Your Majesty is not someone who accepts fate. Whether I accept my fate or not is another matter. Whether I can succeed is another matter. I have to make some plans. Emperor Zhao chuckled. He was not worried about attaining the Tao. It was nothing more than a fight with all his strength. If he succeeded, he would succeed. If he failed, so be it. There was nothing to worry about. Marquis Baiyun said, The human race is in a serious situation now. If your Majesty fails to attain the Tao, it will be a big blow to the human race. Although Emperor Qin is powerful, it's difficult to lose a half-immortal. What do you think, Marquis Baiyun? That's why I'm here. Marquis Baiyun looked at Emperor Zhao with a burning gaze and said solemnly. Seeing the look in Marquis Baiyun's eyes, Emperor Zhao's expression also became solemn. Rumble, the void shattered. A flood dragon shattered the void and wreaked havoc in the sky above the human race's territory. Where did you come from? How dare you behave so atrociously in the human race? Dan Hao was furious. Looking at the flood dragon in the sky, he immediately walked out of the East City and charged toward it. On the other side, the East City Lord and the South City Lord also attacked at the same time. They held huge cities in their hands and pressed toward the flood dragon. Roar! The flood dragon let out an angry roar. With a swing of its tail, it smashed the void within 10,000 miles. The terrifying power forced Dan Hao to fly backward. Then, the 2 cities fell and smashed on the flood dragon's body. The terrifying scales made the flood dragon's body tremble, and its body became shorter. However, the flood dragon quickly launched an attack. Bang! Bang! 2 powerful attacks sent the 2 cities flying backward. What a powerful flood dragon! The South City Lord looked at the 10,000-foot-long flood dragon in the sky with a solemn expression. Just a moment ago, he had already noticed the gap between the 2 sides. To put it bluntly, he was only a 6th-level celestial being saint. With the South City and the power of the formation, he could only fight against an 8th-level celestial being. Facing such a powerhouse who obviously surpassed the 8th-level celestial being, he was still at a disadvantage. Blood flowed from the corner of Dan Hao's mouth, and his expression was solemn. Not long ago, I heard that an extraterritorial demon came to the demon race's secret realm and escaped by possessing a 9th-level celestial being flood dragon. It seems that it's this flood dragon in front of me. Soul Sage, a top demon saint. Such strength was enough to rank in the top 5 of the human race. And the top 5 human powerhouses were coincidentally not in the human territory. At this moment, the South City Lord had already started fighting with the flood dragon again. The East City Lord did not immediately attack. Instead, he looked at the Black Stone secret realm and shouted, "The demon race has invaded the human territory. Why hasn't the Black Emperor attacked yet?" Although a 9th-level celestial being powerhouse was powerful. But in the human territory, there were still emperors guarding the door. At this moment, naturally, it was best to let the Black Emperor attack. As soon as he finished speaking, the Black Stone secret realm shook, and an extremely powerful aura rose. The Black Emperor stepped out from it, and a long river of laws appeared under his feet. Ben Huang was in seclusion just now and did not notice this. "Let me suppress this flood dragon first." The Black Emperor smiled slightly, and then he struck out with his palm, charging towards the Soul Sage. Terrifying power. It made the Soul Sage feel a great threat. Suddenly, the Soul Sage ignored the South City Lord's attack and attacked the Black Emperor instead. Boom! The two instantly started fighting. At this moment, the South City Lord also stopped and put down the city again. It was not that he did not want to interfere. He really had no way to interfere. To put it bluntly, the South City Lord was a 6th-level celestial being. No matter if it was the Soul Sage or the Black Emperor, their strength was far above him. If he wanted to interfere, he had to have the ability. "Brother Huar, who do you think will win?" the South City Lord asked in a low voice. The Black Emperor is a Nirvana being and the Emperor of the Black Stone Condor race. His strength is naturally not something a Soul Sage can compare to. The East City Lord shook his head, but his expression was still dignified. Ever since the demon took over the Soul Sage, this flood dragon has killed a lot of people in the 4 major continents. It has also killed a lot of powerful people. Now its strength is probably beyond the 9th level of the celestial being. This kind of strength is very strong. Even if the Black Emperor can suppress it, he may not be able to kill it. A strong person at this level, if he really wanted to leave, it would be very difficult to kill him completely, unless it was only possible with the help of a powerful divine weapon. Thinking of this, the East City Lord said regretfully, "It's a pity that the Qin Emperor is not here. Otherwise, with the Heaven List in his hands, it would be enough to suppress the Soul Sage. If the Qin Emperor was here, he would not need the help of the Heaven List." Dan Hao sneered. Hearing this, the East City Lord nodded. Brother Dan is right. With the strength of the Qin Emperor, it is easy for him to suppress a Soul Sage. I have already sent a message to the Qinyuan Sacred Ground. I believe that it will not be long before a strong person arrives. Dan Hao said, "When something happened in the human territory, the Emperor must be sent a message. Some time ago, Emperor Zhao was in seclusion, so he only sent a message to the Qinyuan Sacred Ground. As for Emperor Zhao coming out of seclusion, because Dan Hao is far away in the human territory, he did not get the news immediately. At this time, the battle was still going on. The Black Emperor's strength was indeed terrifying. He was worthy of being the strongest person in the Nirvana realm. From beginning to end, he suppressed the Soul Sage. Terrifying power bombarded. The flood dragon's scales were shattered, and its blood was scattered in the void. This is the flood dragon's blood of the 9th level of the celestial being realm. It is much stronger than the original dark flood dragon. If I can get it, the effect will be several times stronger. The East City Lord was a little envious. Unfortunately, it was not easy to get this kind of flood dragon's blood. Why? Does the Hua family want to give birth to a second celestial being? The South City Lord laughed. The flood dragon's blood of the 9th level of the celestial being realm could be used even by a strong person at the peak of the god martial arts realm. To be able to lay the foundation with such a treasure, the probability of breaking through to the celestial being realm would be greatly increased. The East City Lord did not deny it and said bluntly, "You know the current situation. I am the only celestial being in the Hua family. After all, there is a big gap. In the future, the human celestial being will be the mainstream. As for those below the celestial being realm, it is very difficult to be on the stage. That's true. The South City Lord nodded in agreement. He also wanted to get the Flood Dragon's blood of the 9th level of the celestial being realm. The East City Lord had family forces behind him, and so did the South City Lord. The battle, it lasted for half a day. In the end, after the Soul Sage suffered a blow from the Black Emperor, he directly broke through the void and escaped, ignoring the injuries on his body. Seeing this, the Black Emperor chased after him. Not long after, the Black Emperor returned with a trace of anger on his face. Seeing this, the East City Lord and the other two had a look of regret in their eyes. There was no need to think about it. They all knew that the Soul Sage had escaped. The Black Emperor said, "The Flood Dragon's methods are strange." Bin Huang didn't notice it and let it escape. The Black Emperor was able to make the Flood Dragon retreat, which is a great merit. At this time, I will report to the Emperor. The East City Lord cupped his hands and said. Hearing this, the anger on the Black Emperor's face dissipated, and he smiled faintly. This is what Bin Huang should do. Now that this matter is over, I will take my leave first. After he finished speaking, he had already returned to the Black Stone secret realm. This battle, it was also noticed by the cultivators of the human territory. When they saw the Black Emperor make a move to repel the Flood Dragon, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, they were even more impressed by Qin Shujian. That's right. The Black Emperor had repelled the Flood Dragon, but the one the human clan admired was Qin Shujian. It was very simple. The Black Stone Condor clan was subdued by Qin Shujian, and the Black Emperor had also submitted to him. If not for this, why would the Black Emperor make a move at this time? The Qin Emperor really has foresight. If it wasn't for the fact that an emperor was here, I'm afraid there would have been a lot of casualties in this battle. That's right, that Flood Dragon is really strong. I think that the two city lords are no match for it. The human clan cultivators sighed. When the East City Lord and the South City Lord heard this, they just smiled at each other and didn't say anything. This matter was serious. It was indeed the Qin Emperor's credit. At this time, the news of the martial sage attacking the human territory had already been spread to the Qinyuan sacred ground, Qinyuan Hall. For this matter, Qin Shujian had also gathered the elders of the sacred ground for a meeting. You should be very clear about the situation in the human territory. Bin Huang doesn't have to repeat it. Qin Shujian looked at everyone and said lightly, the extraterritorial demon is no small matter. Since it can possess the martial sage, it will probably find a way to open the void of heaven and earth to receive the extraterritorial demon from the endless void. Therefore, this extraterritorial demon must be dealt with. Ordinary extraterritorial demons were not a problem. What Qin Shujian was really worried about were the extraterritorial demons that could even devour perfected immortals. If extraterritorial demons of this level entered the world, the 4 major continents might fall. When that time came, they wouldn't have to worry about the great tribulation of the demon abyss. Just the extraterritorial demons alone were enough to make the 10,000 clans suffer. Qin Yuanbai cupped his hands and said, according to the news, the extraterritorial demon's main area of activity is in the western state. This time, it came to the human territory mainly to attack the East City. In my opinion, it's better to let the 9-headed dog clan and the earthbound dragons spread their manpower and find the Flood Dragon. At that time, we can eliminate it completely. Yes, Qin Shujian nodded. The demon clan is also looking for the Flood Dragon's whereabouts. In this matter, our purpose is the same as the demon clans. We don't have to worry about the demon clan's secret tricks. The extraterritorial demons had caused the demon clan a lot of losses. They were the top demon clan that possessed the dragons. This matter, the demon king was also furious. Moreover, the human clan knew about the threat of the extraterritorial demons. There was no reason for the demon clan not to know. Therefore, the demon clan was now also looking for the martial sage. Otherwise, the martial sage would not have appeared in the human territory. It was purely driven there by the demon clan. Qin Shujian said, the corpse of the flood dragon at the 9th level of the celestial being realm still has a lot of benefits. If the human clan can get it, we may be able to use it to produce a few more celestial beings. Therefore, the corpse of the martial sage must not fall into the hands of other clans. If there are any traces of him, report to Bin Huang immediately. We will do as you say. Qin Yuanbai and the others bowed and accepted the order. Subsequently, Qin Shujian said, is there any news from Sihanhai? Some time ago, Sihanhai attacked the ancient Buddha clan again. After a big battle with the ancient Buddha emperor, he disappeared. However, the Qinyuan sacred ground has sent people to infiltrate the northern continent. Elder Qi is also looking for Sihanhai's whereabouts, but there is no result for the time being. Fang Xinglan replied truthfully. Attacking the ancient Buddha clan. Qin Shujian found that Sihanhai seemed to be going against the ancient Buddha clan. Since the other party left the human territory, he had attacked the ancient Buddha clan more than once or twice. Regarding this, he was happy to see it happen. The ancient Buddha clan was also a huge threat to the human clan. It was naturally a good thing that Sihanhai could weaken the strength of the ancient Buddha clan. Moreover, Qin Shujian also hoped that Sihanhai could swallow the ancient Buddha emperor. That would solve the problem once and for all. Fang Xinglan said, now that Sihanhai has killed a lot of people in the northern continent, some forces have already called him the blood demon and want to kill him. So be it. As long as he doesn't become an enemy of the human clan, it's fine. Qin Shujian didn't care at all. Looking at Fang Xinglan, he continued, by the way, pay attention to the movements of the various clans. If they really want to kill Sihanhai, immediately send a message to Bin Huang if they succeed. Is the Qin emperor going to rescue him? Why not? Qin Shujian asked. Sihanhai is an enemy of foreign clans, which means he is an ally of the human clan. How can Bin Huang sit back and do nothing? Hearing this, Fang Xinglan didn't object. Soon, the elders had already left. Qin Shujian sat on the main seat, but his thoughts drifted to the other 3 continents. Sihanhai's problem is still a small problem. Even the ancient Buddha emperor can't kill him. Even if they join forces with the other clans, they might not succeed. But speaking of which, his strength has improved fast enough. Sihanhai's matter can be put aside for a while, but the 9th level heaven human realm flood dragon of the demon clan that has been possessed by the extraterritorial demon has to be in our hands. The 9th level heaven human realm flood dragon was full of treasures. If the human clan got their hands on it, it would be no joke to give birth to a few heaven human realm experts. For the other clans, a few ordinary heaven human realm cultivators were dispensable. But for the human clan, every additional heaven human realm expert was a big deal. However, not all the blood of foreign experts could give birth to a heaven human realm expert. Most of them would only explode and die. Only the blood of dragons could have such an effect. To put it bluntly, if it weren't for the fact that most of the demon emperors were born from dragons, the dragons might have been destroyed long ago. Collecting his thoughts, Qin Shujian focused his attention on himself, and the smile on his face deepened. Soon, in another 2 or 3 months, I should be able to break through to the 7th level of the heaven human realm. P.S. Give me a legitimate subscription. The author is starving. Chidian Chinese networks. I am decent. Chapter 648. In the future, Qin Shujian stayed in the Qinyuan sacred ground. However, anything that happened in the 4 continents, as long as it involved a powerful figure, would be sent back to the sacred ground for Qin Shujian to review. As for other things, it was handled by the elders of the sacred ground. P.S. I don't want you to stay up late to read the updates. I want you to read them as soon as you wake up. Don't stay up late because of this. In the past 2 months, the spirit qi in the East continent continued to rise. Due to the formation Qin Shujian had set up, the spiritual energy in the other 3 continents could only flow in but not out. In addition, Baiyun Prefecture had a large spiritual vein, which indirectly affected the other prefectures as well. So, after Qi Tiansheng of the Haifu sect, another cultivator broke through to the diviner realm. But this time, Qin Shujian did not let the diviner realm cultivator become an elder of the sacred ground. He only gave him the status of an honorary elder and allowed him to cultivate in the sacred ground. After all, the Qinyuan sacred ground did not need too many elders with real power. 7 or 8 were enough. The rest, they could all be left for later. However, for other cultivators, the birth of 2 diviner realm cultivators in less than a year was enough to inspire them. After all, in the past hundreds of years, there had not been a chance for a diviner realm cultivator to be born. Now, a year had passed. The birth of 2 diviner realm cultivators and the cultivation of other cultivators had also increased greatly. It made people understand that the general trend was coming. The great tribulation of the demon abyss is coming. The human race has been in decline for millions of years. It's time for good to come. Qin Shujian looked at the messages from all over the world with a faint smile on his face. The stronger the human race was, the stronger the luck of the human race would be. From the current situation, there were not many diviner realm cultivators, but the number of cultivators below the diviner realm had increased greatly. According to Qin Shujian's estimation, if the human race was given some time, diviner realm cultivators would also appear like bamboo shoots after the rain. After all, now that the laws of heaven and earth were perfected, the spirit qi had become stronger. In addition to the perfection of cultivation methods, it was normal for powerhouses to be born one after another. The Cosmos Tao-seeking scripture was a cultivation method recognized by the fortune of the human race. It was also the cultivation method most suited to the human race. This divinity ascension cultivation method was enough for all humans to cultivate. As long as one had enough talent and resources, there wouldn't be any problems. The life source is almost at 900 billion now. It won't be long before it breaks through the trillion mark. Looking at his attribute panel, Qin Shujian's heart skipped a beat. The closer he got to the source of life, the more powerful he became. The more he felt, the more his heart throbbed. This proved that his conjecture was correct. This was because only matters related to oneself would cause such throbbing. He looked at the source of life that was pulsing every moment. Qin Shujian revealed a faint smile. Soon, in another month's time, I will be able to break through to level 7 of the Sky Human stage. There is a high chance that I will be able to stand shoulder to shoulder with the average level 3 true immortal, as long as he was comparable to a lower 3 true immortal. If that was the case, the human race would have a true immortal overseeing it. To determine whether or not a race had a true immortal, it did not necessarily mean that there was a true immortal. The true basis of determination was strength, just like the Soul Protector race. The Soul Protector race was a true immortal, but that kind of strength was much weaker in front of a real true immortal. In the Dead Sea, a large ship was riding the wind and breaking the waves, sailing in the sea. Behind it were huge waves that were thousands of feet high, as if they were covering the sky and the sun. Then, hundreds of millions of pounds of seawater fell heavily, and the terrifying waves spread out, causing the sea to tremble violently. A huge beast appeared from it. The powerful power made the Golden Rock King and the others' faces turn green. "Hurry up, that beast is catching up," Xia Kun roared crazily. The King of Azure Billows didn't have time to wipe the sweat off his forehead. His voice was trembling as he said, "Don't rush me. Come if you have the guts. Why are you rushing me? Can't you see that I'm already very fast?" After saying that, he calmed down a little, then turned his head to look at the other 2 elders of the Azure Billows sect and shouted, "Don't hold back any of your true essence. Drive the ship with all your strength. Don't let the thing behind us catch up." The 2 elders of the Jade Billow sect also looked ghastly pale. In response to the King of Azure Billow's words, no one refuted. Instead, they used all their strength to escape on the ship. F***ck him. Xia Kun's face darkened. Looking at the beast chasing after them, he felt his heart, liver, spleen, stomach, and kidneys tremble. This time, leaving Heavenly Pattern Island. The 3 sects had all participated. The Holy God sect was led by the Golden Rock King and 2 elders of the 10th level of the Divine Martial Realm. The Azure Billows sect was led by the King of Azure Billows and 2 elders of the 10th level of the Divine Martial Realm. As for the Fantasy God sect, the Fantasy God King didn't go. The one who went was Xia Kun, the Vice Sect Master, and 2 elders of the divine martial realm. Just as Xia Chao said, Heavenly Pattern Island couldn't lose a 3rd-level sky human realm expert. The fantasy god king didn't go. The other 2 sects also understood. Just like that, 2 3rd-level sky human realm experts, 1 1st-level sky human realm expert, and 6 10th-level divine martial realm experts swaggered away from Heavenly Pattern Island. Although they understood the danger of the Death Sea area, Xia Kun thought that the strength of his team was already more than half of Heavenly Pattern Island's strength. No matter how strong the beasts in the sea were, they might not be able to do anything to him and the others. In the end, they had just left Heavenly Pattern Island for less than 10,000 miles when they encountered the most powerful beast in their lives. A beast whose exact realm was unknown, but it was at least at the supreme expert level. The moment that ferocious aura appeared, Xia Kun, the Golden Rock King, and the others' faces turned green. No one went to fight with the beast. Instead, they drove the ship away without looking back. King of Azure Billows, is your ship okay? The Golden Rock King's lips were trembling. There was nothing he could do. It was purely out of fear. Now, they no longer had the calm aura of a sect master that they had when they were on Heavenly Pattern Island. Nor did they have the arrogance of a sky human realm expert. In front of a supreme expert, a transcendent realm expert really couldn't be arrogant. The Golden Rock King didn't expect himself to be so unlucky to encounter a supreme expert-level beast so quickly. Moreover, he also saw a few sky human realm beasts that had been awakened along the way. They were killed by the supreme expert beast without any resistance. That kind of terrifying strength. The Golden Rock King felt that he wasn't a sky human realm expert, but more like a small cultivator who had just stepped on the path of cultivation. Hearing this, the King of Azure Billows rolled his eyes and said, "This ship is my Eldar Dao artifact. It's a treasure passed down from 1,000,000 years ago. Although it's only a 7-seal Dao artifact, it's definitely fast enough. You Golden Rock King is fast enough. Before you break through to the supreme expert level, you don't want to catch up with my ship. As for the beast behind us, although it's strong, it's not very fast. Don't worry, it's not a big problem." The King of Azure Billows said with confidence, but Xia Kun wanted to remind him, "Don't tremble when you say it. It's more convincing." An illusion god sect elder wiped the sweat from his forehead, looking shocked. "It's said that the Sea of Death is very dangerous. I didn't believe it at first, but now I understand. Sect Master, do we have a chance to reach land?" Another illusion god sect elder looked at Xia Kun and asked. This sentence made the elders of the other 2 sects speechless. Could they reach land? No one was sure. Now, a few months had passed, and they were still floating on the surface of the sea. They didn't know where they were. With a glance, they could see that the sea was still the sea. Who knew when they would encounter stronger beasts? By then, everyone on the ship would be eaten by the beasts. Xia Kun forced a smile and said, "Don't worry, this ship is Eldar's treasure. It's not a big problem. And didn't you notice that we changed direction when we met that supreme expert beast at the beginning? So far, the beasts we've encountered have been getting weaker and weaker." One had to know that the sea region was divided into inner and outer regions. The deeper one went, the stronger the ferocious beasts would be. The closer one was to the land, the weaker the ferocious beasts would be. If I'm not wrong, it won't be long before we reach land. These words, although he was trying to comfort her, that was the truth. There was no direction in the Sea of Death. To determine whether they were close to the inner area or the outer area, they had to judge by the strength of the beasts they encountered along the way. Now that the beasts they encountered were getting weaker and weaker, it meant that they were close to the outer area. On the contrary, if the beasts were getting stronger and stronger, it meant that they were deep in the sea. Hearing this, the others were also slightly relieved. Xia Kun's words gave them a dose of reassurance. Golden Rock King looked back at the beasts that had been left behind, and his face relaxed a little. Sect Master Xia is right. The beasts we encounter now are indeed getting weaker and weaker. If I'm not wrong, we're very close to land. King of Azure Billows also took the opportunity to crush 2 spiritual stones to recover his consumed vital essence. At this time, Only then did he have time to wipe his sweat. Hearing this, King of Azure Billows also smiled and said, "As long as we don't encounter powerful beasts or natural disasters, there should be no problem." Boom! The sky changed color, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. A terrifying power condensed in it. At this moment, the smile on King of Azure Billows' face stiffened. Xiaokun and Golden Rock King also looked at him strangely. The next moment, King of Azure Billows turned around and shouted, "Let's go! The natural disaster is coming." Now, he couldn't help but curse himself. Crow's beak. The natural disaster came when he said it would. It had never come true like this. He said that he would become an immortal on the spot, but why didn't he really become an immortal? He didn't have time to complain. King of Azure Billows could only drive the ship to escape. The power condensed by the natural disaster had become very strong. The power was drawn but not released. But in the eyes of Golden Rock King and other celestial beings, it was no weaker than the beasts that were chasing after them. In other words, this was a natural disaster at the level of a mighty figure. Xiaokun swallowed, looked at the person who was driving the ship and said, "King of Azure Billows, can this Eldar treasure of yours withstand the attack of a mighty figure? A seven-seal Tao artifact. Even a mighty figure can't break it easily." King of Azure Billows heard this and had to reply, "What a joke. This was the treasure that Eldar had been cultivating for millions of years. If it weren't for leaving the island this time, Eldar wouldn't have taken it out. If it weren't for his weak strength, King of Azure Billows wouldn't have run away. He would have used the spirit ship to smash that beast to death. Unfortunately, if his strength was too weak, even if he had a treasure, it wouldn't be of much use." Xiaokun and Golden Rock King were slightly relieved when they heard this. "But this ship of mine isn't mainly for defense. It's famous for its speed. If a mighty figure really attacks it, the ship will definitely be fine. But it's hard to say what will happen to the people." Xiaokun and Golden Rock King were speechless. They had to finish their words in one go. Half of what they said was left unsaid. This caused their hearts, which had just been put at ease, to rise again. At this moment, the natural disaster in the sky had condensed. Endless power turned into a hurricane that swept across the world. All the beasts in the sea that were affected were pulled up by this force and then smashed into pieces in midair. Blood rained down from the sky. The hurricane covered the sky. The spirit ship was in the turbulent sea, as if it would be drowned by the waves at any time. But if one looked carefully, one would discover that everything within 100 feet of the spirit ship was calm and tranquil. A seven-seal Tao artifact. It could suppress everything by itself. It was just that the influence of the natural disaster at this time made the void unstable. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any waves within 10 miles of the spirit ship. And behind the spirit ship, it was the roar of a ferocious beast that was tens of thousands of feet tall. The power of the natural disaster hurricane swept across, and it also made this ferocious beast feel offended. Such a terrifying power. But it didn't affect the beast much. Instead, it aroused the anger in the beast's heart. Originally, it had been chasing Golden Rock King and the others for so long, but it hadn't been able to devour those blood food, which had already made it very angry. At this time, there was still the natural disaster blocking it. The beast was even more furious, only to see a terrifying power erupt from the beast's body, and a claw tore the hurricane apart. The chaotic power spread out. It made the sea area even darker. "This beast is so strong." Xiaokun turned her head and saw this scene from afar. She also gasped, although she had long known that the beast was powerful. But the scene of it tearing the hurricane apart with its bare hands was still shocking. When the hurricane swept up just now, there were celestial beasts that couldn't resist and were torn apart. But now, the hurricane that was enough to annihilate celestial beasts was broken by the beast in one fell swoop. The strength of its power was enough to be called earth-shattering. Originally, they wanted the natural disaster to block the beast a little. But looking at the current situation, they might not be able to do it. At this moment, the hurricane was torn apart, and the natural disaster seemed to be enraged, only to see that the condensed power finally turned into a huge fist and blasted down. Where the fist passed, the void was turned into powder. The beast roared at the sky. It had already exploded with all its power and charged towards the fist. Boom! The two collided, and the power tore the sky and the earth. The sea area was filled with endless waves, and the vast aftershock bombarded the spirit ship, causing it to tremble violently. Finally, the beast let out a sorrowful cry, and its incomparably powerful physical body collapsed. It was smashed into the sea surface, and its blood dyed a large area of the sea red. So strong! Seeing the scene of the fist smashing the beast down, everyone on the spirit ship was speechless. After a long time, Golden Rock King came back to his senses and said involuntarily, "Just now, that was a power imprint left behind by a powerhouse. What kind of powerhouse could use the power of a punch to knock down an almighty beast? I'm afraid that ordinary almighties can't do this. Why do I feel that the fist looks familiar?" Xia Kun was shocked. Looking at the fist just now, a puzzled expression appeared on his face. For some reason, he felt that the fist did look familiar. But after thinking about it, Xia Kun realized that he didn't know such a powerhouse. King of Azure Billows said, "Everyone's fist looks the same. You must be seeing things. I'm only concerned about whether that beast is dead or not. Even if it's not dead, it's probably severely injured," Golden Rock King said uncertainly. Hearing that, King of Azure Billows breathed a sigh of relief and said with a faint smile, "So the natural disaster has helped us this time. I think that beast won't come after us again." As soon as he finished speaking, waves suddenly rose on the surface of the sea. A beast covered in blood, emitting a violent aura, was staring at the spirit ship with its scarlet eyes. Everyone's eyes fell on King of Azure Billows. King of Azure Billows immediately shut his mouth, then turned around and drove the spirit ship to escape. Looking at the beast that was more ferocious after being injured, Golden Rock King felt a chill in his heart. Such a ferocious beast. Although its strength had dropped a lot, its ferocity had become stronger. It was really going to fight. The probability of them dying was higher than before. Xia Kun said faintly, "King of Azure Billows, you'd better stop talking. It's better to steer the ship with peace of mind than anything else." He really didn't want King of Azure Billows to talk anymore. Who knew what would happen next time? The Dead Sea area. There were too many unknown dangers. If they encountered too many, even with the spirit ship in hand, they couldn't escape the fate of death. Hearing that, King of Azure Billows didn't have the strength to refute. Just like that, the beast was chasing behind, and the spirit ship was fleeing in front. Another few days passed. All of a sudden, Xia Kun looked at the sea in front of them with an excited look on his face. "Look, that's a ship. I've already sensed the aura of humans. Those are human ships. Human ships. Doesn't this mean that we're about to reach the land?" Golden Rock King was also excited. The other people on the spirit ship couldn't keep calm. Who knew how they spent the past few months? Now that they finally saw the existence of other ships, it meant that they were not far from the land. In this way, in other words, they could finally get out of the predicament in front of them. Soon, a terrifying aura approached them from behind. Xia Kun's expression changed drastically, and then he shouted frantically, "Retreat! A powerful beast is approaching. Leave quickly." He could feel it. The humans on the ship didn't seem to be very strong. If they really encountered that injured, ferocious beast, only death would await them. Xia Kun shouted with all his might, and his voice was loud enough to travel more than 10,000 miles. When the people on the ships heard this sentence, their expressions changed. Then, they saw a huge wave in the distance, and the head of a terrifying beast was revealed. After a short silence, all the ships turned around in unison. A cultivator cursed angrily, "A powerful beast. This is clearly the outermost area of the sea. How can there be a powerful beast? Hurry up and send a message to the Qianyuan sacred ground. Otherwise, the powerful beast will wreak havoc and we will all die." A cultivator reacted and hurriedly said to the people around him. As soon as he finished speaking, a cultivator showed a sad expression. "How can we send a message? I don't even know how the Qianyuan sacred ground communicates. The Qianyuan sacred ground was now in charge of the human cultivation world, but only those who truly belonged to the sacred ground, or else they were not qualified to send a message to the sacred ground. If we can't send a message to the sacred ground directly, then we can send a message to the Sky Patrol. I know someone from the Sky Patrol. Let me do it. The Sky Patrol was not only made up of people from the sects, but also individual cultivators from all over the world. As long as their cultivation was high enough, they were qualified to become a Sky Patrol. So, compared to the high-level members of the Qianyuan sacred ground, it was easier to contact the Sky Patrol. The same principle applied. If they could contact the Sky Patrol, they could naturally contact the high-level members of the Qianyuan sacred ground. Qianyuan realm. Qin Shujian suddenly had a thought and couldn't help but take out the heaven list. He didn't know when. On the heaven ranking, there was an additional name on the celestial ranking. Name, Xiakun race, human age, 1,326 years old realm, level 1 of the celestial realm combat strength, 127 talent assessment. Superior, Xiakun. Qin Shujian's expression changed slightly. How could he forget this name? The heaven list condensed the fate of the human clan. Anyone who was in the territory of the human clan would be on the list. Heavenly Pattern Island was in the Dead Sea. In the Dead Sea, the rules were chaotic. Even the fate of the human clan couldn't cover it. So, although there were many human clan experts in Heavenly Pattern Island, none of them were on the list. Now that Xiakun's name suddenly appeared on the list, there was only one explanation. She had left Heavenly Pattern Island. No, it's not as simple as leaving Heavenly Pattern Island. If she can be captured by the Heaven List, she must have left the territory of the Dead Sea. That's why she was captured by the fate of the human clan. Why did Heavenly Pattern Island send someone out of the Dead Sea at this time? Qin Shujian's expression gradually calmed down, guessing the purpose of Heavenly Pattern Island. Although there were many cultivators in Heavenly Pattern Island, if they could enter the East Continent, they could enhance the strength of the human clan. However, Qin Shujian was also very clear. Heavenly Pattern Island was different from the human clan in the East Continent. The inheritance of Heavenly Pattern Island came from ancient times, and the people there were still covered by the glory of ancient times. If they came to the East Continent, they might not necessarily recognize the rule of the human clan. Moreover, Heavenly Pattern Island didn't only have the human clan, but also the demon clan and the Eldar. These races had been passed down from ancient times. Qin Shujian wasn't sure if they had some unknown trump cards. To be honest, he had never thought of letting the people of Heavenly Pattern Island participate in the 4 great continents. Since it's a place of inheritance, isn't it good to stay there? Why come out and get involved in the disputes of this chaotic world? Qin Shujian's gaze was deep. He didn't have any objections to the cultivators of Heavenly Pattern Island. There, the various races got along well, and it wasn't as tense as the current situation in the 4 great continents. If possible, Qin Shujian didn't want Heavenly Pattern Island to be involved. However, Xiakun's name had already appeared on the Heaven List, which proved that she was about to reach the East Pattern Prefecture. No matter what, this matter had to be dealt with. Otherwise, if Xiakun was allowed to run around outside, it would inevitably cause other trouble. What's more, in Qin Shujian's opinion, Xiakun wasn't the only cultivator who came out of Heavenly Pattern Island. The other 2 clans should have also come out. Or else, it was almost impossible for Xiakun, who was at the first layer of the Heaven Realm, to walk out of the Sea of Death. However, it wasn't right to say that all the human experts of Heavenly Pattern Island had come out. Human cultivators couldn't leave too much. No matter where, balance was the most important. Moreover, if there were other human experts, they would definitely be on the Heaven List. However, there weren't any, which already explained everything. Therefore, Qin Shujian was sure that Xiakun wasn't the only one who came out of Heavenly Pattern Island. The reason why they weren't on the list was probably because they didn't belong to the human clan, so there was no possibility of them being on the list. He kept the Heaven List. Qin Shujian said calmly, "Senior, someone came out of Heavenly Pattern Island." Simple words. Godslayer didn't answer immediately. After a while, a calm voice came from the Sea of Consciousness. No matter what, Xia Chao is a direct descendant of the ancient human emperor. The humans of Heavenly Pattern Island also have the ancient human emperor's blood flowing in their veins. They all have the surname Xia, just like Xia Yi. I hope that you can be merciful and don't cut off Heavenly Pattern Island's inheritance. After all, Heavenly Pattern Island's original intention was to ensure that the human race's inheritance wouldn't be destroyed. If it were to be destroyed by the human race in the end, it would be a bit laughable. Senior, do you think that I would be so decisive? I'm just saying a few more words, Godslayer said indifferently. He hadn't followed Qin Shujian for long, but he was very clear about the other party's ruthlessness. If Heavenly Pattern Island blocked the other party's path, destruction would be unavoidable. Even though Heavenly Pattern Island had been passed down since ancient times and seemed to have a strong foundation, it definitely couldn't stop the current Qin Shujian. If the other party wanted to destroy Heavenly Pattern Island, there was no reason for Heavenly Pattern Island to survive. However, Godslayer also knew that Qin Shujian respected Xia Yi, so he deliberately mentioned Xia Yi's name, hoping that Qin Shujian would give him some face. At the same time, Godslayer also hoped that the people from Heavenly Pattern Island would be tactful. If possible, Bin Huang also doesn't want to attack the cultivators of Heavenly Pattern Island. Qin Shujian said and disappeared from the Qian Yuan realm in the next instant. Eastern Pattern Mansion. Almighty beasts wreaked havoc. All the beasts in the surrounding sea retreated. All the ships that entered the sea received the news of the Almighty Beast's attack and then retreated to the Eastern Pattern Mansion. Why haven't the human experts arrived yet? Xia Kun's expression changed slightly. Because they were now close to land, the spirit ship's speed had slowed down a little. The beasts behind them were constantly approaching. As a heavenly cultivator, he had already spread out his perception. However, in Xia Kun's perception, all the human cultivators' strength was very ordinary. Not to mention the almighty experts, since the beasts came out, not a single heavenly cultivator had arrived. Such a change was completely different from what he had expected. Xia Kun originally thought that there would be human experts guarding the sea area. As long as the beasts behind them dared to chase over, there would be human experts to suppress them. But now it seemed, if the beasts behind them attacked, it would probably be a bloodbath. What should we do? Golden Rock King's expression changed. Normally speaking, the spirit ship should leave this place first. The almighty beasts could kill whoever they wanted. However, as the sect master of the Holy God sect, Golden Rock King was also the protector of Heavenly Pattern Island. It didn't make sense for him to watch the humans be slaughtered by the beasts. Xia Kun looked at King of Azure Billows and shouted in a deep voice, "King of Azure Billows, can you still hold on?" "No problem." King of Azure Billows crushed 2 spirit stones and recovered his primordial chi. Xia Kun quickly said, "Don't go to the land for the time being. Let's slip away from that beast. Our heavenly cultivator's chi and blood are irresistible to it. As long as we change direction, it won't go over." Okay. King of Azure Billows didn't hesitate at all. With a move of his divine consciousness, the spirit ship immediately passed by and headed in another direction. On this side, the spirit ship was far away. The beast let out an angry roar and chased in the direction of the spirit ship as expected. The almighty beast deviated from the direction. Those panicked cultivators gradually calmed down. The two sides looked at each other and saw a look of uncertainty in each other's eyes. On the shore, the East Pattern Mansion's Sky Patrol gathered. "Commander, what should we do now?" A Sky Patrol Divine General asked in a deep voice. "Evacuate the others. That beast is only being held back temporarily. It might come over here. Immediately send a message to the Holy Land. It's best to let Emperor Qin take action." Jin Lu said calmly. Facing an almighty beast, he didn't have the confidence in his heart. As the commander of the Sky Patrol Divine General, Jin Lu was only a great cultivator in the God martial arts realm. As for the other Sky Patrol Divine Generals and Sky Patrol Divine Guards, they were all cultivators in the spirit martial arts realm. With such strength, it was not a problem to maintain order in the East Pattern Mansion. However, to fight against an almighty ferocious beast was no different from courting death. Hearing this, The Sky Patrol Divine General immediately sent other Sky Patrol Divine guards to evacuate all the nearby cultivators. The Sky Patrol Divine General is on duty. All unrelated people should evacuate. A Sky Patrol Divine General shouted loudly. Instantly, those cultivators who wanted to watch the show retreated one after another. The name of the Sky Patrol Divine General. It was more useful than anything else now. The reason was simple. When the Sky Patrol Divine General was first established, it killed countless cultivators and destroyed countless families and sections. This was a reputation built with blood. Defying the Sky Patrol Divine General. That was a dead end. After evacuating all the cultivators near the sea, the Sky Patrol Divine General sealed off the area. In the sea, King of Azure Billows and the others were still circling the almighty beast. There was no other way. If they left the land and went to other places, once the spirit stones and vital essence were exhausted, they might be caught up by the beast and then be eaten by the beast. Besides, every place in the sea had different dangers. The more places they went, the greater the risk. Not to mention, King of Azure Billows and the others also had the idea of stalling for time and waiting for the human powerhouses to arrive. Therefore, they used the spirit ship to fly kites here. Boom! A huge wave swept over. The spirit ship left the area covered by the waves in an instant. King of Azure Billows said in a deep voice, "How many spirit stones do you have? Give them all to me. I don't have any left." Here, Xiakun and King of Golden Rock didn't hesitate and instantly stuffed over 1,000 spirit stones. They understood. After being chased for a few months, King of Azure Billows' consumption was really serious, because only an Eldar could use the Eldar's treasure. So it was King of Azure Billows who was rushing the whole time, and the other two elders of the Azure Billows sect were assisting him. As for the people of the Fantasy Ocean sect and the Saint God sect, they were just spectators. If we continue to delay like this, it will be troublesome. King of Golden Rock looked at the beast that kept chasing behind him like a madman, and he also felt a headache. He didn't understand. Why was this beast so stubborn that it still wouldn't give up after chasing them for a few months? Logically speaking, there were so many beasts in the sea, and many of the heavenly human beasts along the way had been swallowed by it. Speaking of chi and blood, although their chi and blood were tempting, it shouldn't be so tempting. King of Golden Rock really couldn't figure it out. Xiakun said, "Maybe the sea hasn't been attacked by beasts for many years, so they didn't send powerhouses to guard it. But it won't be long before powerhouses arrive." He didn't look panicked. Beasts were raging. The powerhouses on land should have received the news. At this time, they might be rushing over. It was impossible that the human race couldn't deal with a powerful beast. "I just don't know if this place belongs to the Great Zhao." Xiakun thought of what Qin Shujian said. If he didn't remember wrongly, the other party was from a human imperial court called the Great Zhao. This should be the power of a tribe. Xiakun wasn't sure if it existed here. If it did, then it should be much easier for him to find Qin Shujian in the future. 1 hour. The beasts were still chasing. All of a sudden, a terrifying aura came crushing down from the sky, and the void within a radius of 10,000 miles was completely destroyed. That vast aura, all the waves caused by the ferocious beasts, were forcibly suppressed. At that moment, the sea was calm for thousands of miles. There was only a large ship and a huge ferocious beast. The two seemed to be forcefully imprisoned in place by something. They wanted to move, but there was no way. So strong. King of Golden Rock and King of Azure Billows were trembling violently. They looked up at the collapsed void, and their eyes were filled with horror. This aura, it was many times stronger than the beasts that were chasing them. In front of this power, King of Golden Rock, who was at the 3rd level of the heavenly human realm, felt as weak as an ant. It was as if a gentle touch could kill him. Xiakun was trembling. He looked at the sky. He knew that the beast's rampage would definitely attract the experts of the human clan, but he never thought about it. There would be such a terrifying expert. Is this a genuine immortal? Xiakun thought of a term that was both strange and familiar. For a genuine immortal. He had only heard of it from Xia Chao. It was a supreme expert who was truly above all cultivators. Above the heavenly human realm. It was an immortal. A list flew across the sky and landed heavily on the ferocious beast. A terrifying power erupted. The beast couldn't even struggle. It was directly smashed into pieces by the list. Blood and flesh scattered on the sea, dyeing a large area of the sea red. That's the heavenly list. Emperor Qin has taken action. Jin Lu's face was filled with shock. Then, he cried out in surprise. Hearing this, all of the heavenly patrol guards had relaxed expressions on their faces. Then, their expressions turned into fanatical worship. Emperor Qin. That was the heavenly human realm of the cultivation world. For the guards, Emperor Qin was a god in their hearts. As for Xia Kun and the others, they happened to see the heavenly list smashing the beast into pieces. Then they saw a man walking in the air, reaching out and grabbing the list. The next moment, he put it away. Chapter 649. Brother Qin. Xia Kun was shocked. Looking at how the young man had casually suppressed an almighty ferocious beast, he thought he had misjudged him. Not only was Xia Kun shocked, the Golden Rock King and the others were also shocked. They naturally knew Qin Shujian. In the battle when the beasts attacked the island, it was because of the other party that the crisis was resolved. Or else, after that battle, the heavenly pattern island would have suffered a lot. But, at that time, although Qin Shujian was also very strong, compared to now, it was completely different. It was an almighty level beast. He suppressed it so easily. Then the other party. What kind of realm was he in? Emperor Qin? The Golden Rock King was stunned when he heard the words of the cultivators on the shore. Emperor. This was not a casual title. Only the emperor of a race could be called emperor. In other words, the Qin Shujian in front of him was already the emperor? Too many things had happened, causing the Golden Rock King and the others to be in a mess. Qin Shujian landed steadily and appeared on the ship. Brother Xia, we meet again. Brother Qin. Xia Kun stuttered, not knowing what to say for a moment. Qin Shujian smiled slightly. Then, he looked at the Golden Rock King and the King of Azure Wave and cupped his hands. Although the human race and the demon race were fighting fiercely now, the Golden Rock King was not a demon from the Western State, but from the heavenly pattern island. The two could not be lumped together. Of course, if the demon race of the heavenly pattern island merged into the demon race of the Western State in the future, then there would be nothing to say. This time, the King of Azure Wave and the Golden Rock King did not speak. Qin Shujian had changed too much. In the face of such an expert, they did not know what to say. Therefore, they left Xia Kun to talk. Leaving the heavenly pattern island, the Golden Rock King's purpose was to find Qin Shujian and ask about the inheritance of the demon race. As for the King of Azure Wave, it was nothing. It was just that Eldar wanted to send people out of the heavenly pattern island, so they went together. The two had different thoughts. Xia Kun cupped his hands and said solemnly, "May I ask, Brother Qin, are you the emperor of the human race now?" Obviously. He also heard the words of the heavenly patrol guards. Hearing this, Qin Shujian was silent for a moment. Finally, he said, "That's right. Right now, the human race is ruled by two emperors. The Zhao Emperor is the leader of the great Zhao Empire, and the cultivation world is ruled by Ben Huang." Hiss. After getting a definite answer, Xia Kun and the others sucked in a breath of air. It really was the emperor. Looking at Qin Shujian, Xia Kun's expression was somewhat complicated. "Dare I ask, have you reached the true immortal realm?" 200,000 years ago, the laws of heaven and earth were broken, and no one in the world could become an immortal. It was only recently that the laws of heaven and earth were perfected. Now, the Nirvana realm can be considered the top. Qin Shujian explained, and then said with a faint smile. As for Ben Huang, he probably won't waste much effort to kill an ordinary Nirvana realm martial artist. Simple words. However, it exploded in the hearts of Xia Kun and the others. It was obvious. This heaven realm cultivator who had once been to the heavenly pattern island had already grown to a level that they could only look up to. Nirvana realm. Heavenly Rune Island only had two experts of this level. One was the star saint of the Holy God sect, and the other was the sky-reaching ancestor of Eldar. But no matter which one it was, they were both experts who had survived millions of years ago. They were completely incomparable to Qin Shujian in front of them. Looking at Xia Kun and the others in front of him, Qin Shujian said faintly, "This is not the place to talk. Let's leave with Bin Huang first." Okay, Xia Kun and the others nodded. Then King of Azure Billows put away the spirit ship. As for the spirit ship, Qin Shujian also took a few more glances. Those two simple glances scared King of Azure Billows. He almost thought that the other party was going to rob him of Eldar's treasure. Fortunately, Qin Shujian just took a few glances and didn't do anything. Then he looked at the void in front of him, stretched out his hand, and tore it apart. Then he stepped into it. The violent spatial turbulence instantly calmed down. Seeing this scene, Xia Kun and the others were shocked again. Tearing the void with his bare hands was already beyond their imagination, let alone traveling through the void. That was beyond the imagination of the people of Heavenly Pattern Island. Before he could suppress the void with his physical body, Qin Shujian couldn't do this. But now, he could already use the Heaven List to lock on to any coordinates of the human clan, then tear the void and travel long distances, reaching the level where he could be so close but so far away with one step. As Xia Kun and the others stepped in, by the time they reacted, they had already appeared in the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain. What a rich spiritual energy! Xia Kun sighed. King of Azure Billows looked at the earth vein below and said uncertainly, "May I ask, Qin Shujian, is there a large spirit vein buried here?" As an Eldar, he was extremely sensitive to spiritual energy. He instantly sensed the large spirit vein buried deep under the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain. That's right. Some time ago, I killed the Earth Eldar and seized the Earth Spirit's secret realm. That's how I got this large spirit vein. Qin Shujian said, "Killed the Earth Eldar?" His simple words made them look at each other in dismay. Earth Eldar. They had never heard of it. After all, Heavenly Pattern Island had been here for so many years. Other than the inheritances of the various races, the information of the other races had long disappeared with the passage of time. However, although Xia Kun and the others had never heard of the Earth Eldar, they could understand that it was a race. Destroying a race. Hearing it from Qin Shujian, it was an understatement. Regarding this, they all felt a chill in their hearts. After all, destroying a race meant that a large number of creatures had fallen. That would definitely be an extremely bloody and tragic scene. Subsequently, Qin Shujian opened the entrance to the Qian Yuan realm and brought Xia Kun and the others in. As soon as they entered the Qian Yuan realm, an extremely rich spiritual energy rushed towards them. Such spiritual energy. It was even denser than the Heavenly Pattern Island. The Golden Rock King sighed. Is this the Earth Eldar's secret realm? The spiritual energy is indeed dense. This is the Qian Yuan realm, a small world left behind by our human race's true immortal. As for the Earth Spirit's secret realm, Bin Huang has already shattered. Otherwise, the spiritual energy in the Eastern Continent's Baiyun Mansion would not be so dense. Shattered. The Golden Rock King's face stiffened. Although the Heavenly Pattern Island was ill-informed, there were some things that had been passed down since ancient times. What did a race's secret realm mean? He was naturally very clear about it. Such a precious small world was naturally shattered by the other party just like that. Immediately, the Golden Rock King felt a wave of heroism wash over him. At this moment, the people of Heavenly Pattern Island seemed to have never seen the world before as they looked left and right at the things around them. Very quickly, their expressions became somewhat strange, because they didn't find any powerful auras in the Qian Yuan realm. One had to know. From the current situation, the Qian Yuan realm should be where the human emperor's palace was located. Since it was the small world where the human emperor's palace was located, there shouldn't be no human experts. But until now, they only sensed the auras of a few celestial being cultivators, and their auras weren't very strong, probably at the first or second level of the celestial being realm. As for those below the celestial being realm, there were quite a few of them. Such a change. It was completely inconsistent with the strength that Qin Shujian had shown earlier. However, although they had some doubts in their hearts, they didn't ask. In the current situation, it wasn't the time to ask too many questions. It was just that when they arrived at the human emperor's palace, the king of jade waves looked at the towering tree, and his expression finally became solemn. He said, "Qin Emperor, what is the name of this tree?" "His name is Mu Yang. Like the king of jade waves, he is also an Eldar. And the heart of wood spirit given by the ancestor Tongtian was given to him by Bin Huang." "I see." The king of jade waves nodded slightly. No wonder he felt a familiar aura on Mu Yang's body. It wasn't because they were both Eldar that they were familiar with each other. It was because the other party had the heart of wood spirit. That was why the king of jade waves felt familiar. At this moment, the osmanthus tree also trembled. A boy walked out from inside. Seeing Mu Yang, the king of jade waves' expression was also solemn. The two people, one tall and one short, one fat and one thin, looked at each other from a distance. No one disturbed them. "My name is Mu Yang. My name is Jade Waves." The two Eldar celestial beings made a simple self-introduction. At last, Mu Yang looked at Qin Shujian and bowed. "Qin Emperor." After that, he dispersed his incarnation. The king of jade waves had a faint smile on his face. He said, "It's not a waste to use the heart of wood spirit on him. His potential is greater than mine. Maybe he can go further than the one who left the heart of wood spirit in the future." On the other side, the Golden Rock King and others focused their attention on the stone tablet in front of them. Qin Shujian said calmly, "What's engraved on the stone tablet is a cultivation method called the Heaven and Earth Tao-seeking scripture and a martial art called the Human Emperor's immortal slaying art. Non-humans will suffer a backlash if they practice it. If they're lucky, they'll be seriously injured. If they're lucky, they'll explode. These two cultivation methods are spread throughout the human clan. As long as they're human, they can practice them. Even if other races practice them, Bin Huang won't stop them." In one sentence, the people of the Holy God sect and the Jade Waves sect immediately withdrew their gazes. They weren't humans. If they really exploded and died, it would be awkward. However, the people of the Fantasy God sect didn't withdraw their gazes. After a while, Xia Kun said with emotion, "What a mysterious cultivation method. I wonder which senior of the human clan created this cultivation method. If I have the chance, I really want to visit him in person." Qin Shujian responded with a faint smile. He didn't want to embarrass him too much. Soon, a group of people entered the Qinyuan temple. After taking their seats on the left and right, Qin Shujian looked at Xia Kun and others and said calmly, "Brother Xia and others left the heavenly pattern island this time. What's the matter?" Hearing this, the king of jade waves looked at Xia Kun. Xia Kun looked at the Golden Rock King. In the end, the Golden Rock King had to bite the bullet and said, "I left the heavenly pattern island this time because the old ancestor wanted me to ask the Qin Emperor about the inheritance of the demon clan." After the Golden Rock King spoke, Xia Kun also said, "The old ancestor felt that it was an opportunity for the Holy God sect to leave the island. So he wanted me to go out and see if I can break through the shackles of the third level of the Sky Realm." "Me too." The king of jade waves nodded in agreement. Unlike the demon clan, the other two clans didn't have any special meaning. They just said, the demon clan was going to leave. The human clan and Eldar would also send people out. Or else, the balance of the heavenly pattern island would be broken. In addition, if they could successfully walk out of the Sea of Death, there would be great benefits, so they might as well come together. Hearing their words, Qin Shujian had a general understanding of the reason why Xia Kun and others left the island. Then, his gaze fell on the Golden Rock King. When did Senior Star Sage ask the Golden Rock King to leave the island? For months ago. For months ago? Qin Shujian nodded, understanding. Just as he had guessed, the inheritance of the demon clan was definitely not that simple. Or else, it couldn't be that the Star Sage had sensed it the moment he used the inheritance. One had to know. The heavenly pattern island was located in the Sea of Death. There were methods left behind by the emperors, almost to the point of shielding the heavenly secrets. If it was before, Qin Shujian had thought that Nirvana realm cultivators were very awesome. But now, in his eyes, Nirvana realm cultivators were nothing more than that. This way, it was impossible for a Nirvana realm cultivator to sense the movement of the demon clan's inheritance from hundreds of millions of miles away. Unless, this inheritance itself was not simple. The other party had left some kind of backup plan here, so he could detect it immediately. Looking at the Golden Rock King, Qin Shujian said, "Bin Huang has already given the inheritance of the demon clan to the demon clan. If the Golden Rock King wants to see it, Bin Huang can bring you to see it later." Thank you, Qin Emperor. The outside world is vast, and is not something that the heavenly pattern island can compare to. But at the same time, the danger level of the four great continents is many times higher than that of the heavenly pattern island. Qin Shujian looked at everyone and said seriously, "If possible, Bin Huang still hopes that you can return to the heavenly pattern island and not get involved in this dispute." These words. He was serious. From the actions of the Golden Rock King and the others in the Eastern Pattern Island, Qin Shujian understood one thing. They were all outsiders. Not all outsiders viewed human lives as worthless. The Golden Rock King and the others had coexisted in the heavenly Pattern Island for 1,000,000 years. To be honest, they did not value the difference between races as much as the four great continents. If the other party did not become enemies with him, Qin Shujian also did not want to make a move against them. However, what Xia Kun and the others cared about was not the other contents of Qin Shujian's words, but the words of the four great continents. "May I ask, Qin Emperor, where are the four great continents?" King Baitao looked puzzled. The four great continents. They had never heard of it. The inheritances left behind from the ancient times did not leave any information about the four great continents. Qin Shujian said earnestly, "It has been 1,000,000 years since the ancient times. Everything has changed." He did not hide it. He told her everything he knew about the ancient times until now. In the Qinyuan Palace, there was a dead silence. Everyone's expression was constantly changing. The implications of this matter were too great. What they did not expect was that the human clan had broken off with the other clans. Except for the Eldar who remained neutral, the human clan and the demon clan had become mortal enemies. At this moment, the Golden Rock King and Xia Kun both had complicated expressions. The two clans had become mortal enemies. Then what should their relationship be like? Subsequently, the Golden Rock King looked at Qin Shujian again. Since the demon clan was the enemy of the human clan, would the Qin Emperor kill him? He said that he was not nervous. That was a complete lie. But now that he had received too much information, the Golden Rock King was a little absent-minded and neglected the fear of death. Looking at everyone's expressions, Qin Shujian had a panoramic view as well. Subsequently, he said, "The Heavenly Tattoo Island has always been a secular dispute. Bin Huang does not want the Heavenly Tattoo Island to get involved. As for the break between the clans, it has nothing to do with the Heavenly Tattoo Island. It has been 1,000,000 years since the ancient times. The Heavenly Tattoo Island has become completely different from the four great continents. Not all the demon clans are hostile to the human clan. Only the demon clans in the Western Prefecture. Even if Bin Huang can give out the inheritance of the demon clan, not all the demon clans are on the opposite side of the human clan. As long as they are on the side of the human clan, no matter what race, they are all friends to Bin Huang." Speaking of this, Qin Shujian paused for a moment, then continued, "The Golden Rock King does not need to be nervous. If Bin Huang wanted to make a move against you, he would have already done so. To be honest, as long as the Heavenly Tattoo Island does not go against the human clan. In Bin Huang's eyes, the Heavenly Tattoo Island is still a friend." The Golden Rock King's expression changed again. He couldn't quite control Qin Shujian's intentions. Not only that, Xia Kun, King of Jade Wave, and the others also had a strange expression. "Thank you, Qin Emperor." In the end, the Golden Rock King could only squeeze out this sentence. He really did not know what to say. This thank you. It was probably to thank the other party for not killing him. Xia Kun said in a deep voice, "We were lucky to be able to leave the island. But to return again, there is no chance. We might even be buried in the stomach of the fierce beasts. Moreover, the Heavenly Tattoo Island has the restrictions of the emperors. The third layer of the sky-human realm is the limit. Cultivators of our generation also hope to reach the peak, but there is no chance in the heavenly tattoo island. Right now, there is only the 4 great continents. At this point, Xiaokun glanced at the Golden Rock King and King of Jade Wave, shook his head and said with a self-mocking smile, "Actually, to be honest, for us, the conflict between the races is nothing. The heavenly tattoo island has been isolated from the rest of the world for 1,000,000 years. Whether it is the human race or the monster race, the Eldar race, it can be said that they have merged together. If we go back, the peace of the heavenly tattoo island that has been peaceful for 1,000,000 years might be damaged. Since that is the case, we might as well not go back. I believe that the Golden Rock King and King of Jade Wave have no intention of becoming enemies with Qin Emperor. It was impossible to go back. If they did not know the situation of the 4 great continents, then they might still have a chance to go back. But now, there was no way back. After all, the news of the conflict between the races would not be airtight. If they went back to the heavenly tattoo island, this matter might ferment and explode in the end. At that time, the heavenly tattoo island would become a place of conflict. The Golden Rock King also understood what Xiaokun meant. He looked at Qin Shujian and said, just as Qin Emperor said, the human race has enemies with the monster race, but they also have allies with the monster race. In fact, Qin Emperor should know this. The monster race is just a general term. In fact, there are countless races in the monster race. I don't know if there is a golden rock race in the monster race of the Western Prefecture, but I have absolutely no intention of becoming enemies with Qin Emperor and the human race. This time, we came out to ask about the whereabouts of the inheritance. Secondly, we hope to break the original shackles and reach a higher realm. The same goes for the Eldar. The King of Jade Wave added. In fact, he was not worried about this matter. The Eldar did not break off relations with the human race. They had always maintained a neutral attitude. Even in the Qian Yuan realm, there was an Eldar in the heavenly human realm. Therefore, as long as he did not deliberately seek death, the King of Jade Wave was not worried that Qin Shujian would attack him. As for the elders of the 3 sects, they all remained silent. It was not their turn to speak on this occasion. The Qin Emperor was already very kind to be able to sit here. The words had already been said. That made things much simpler. Qin Shujian also understood what Xiaokun and the others were thinking. The heavenly pattern island was the last pure land. At least, that was the case for now. Qin Shujian did not want the heavenly pattern island to be involved in the war, and so did Xiaokun and the others. Therefore, he understood that these people did not want to go back. Qin Shujian glanced at Xiaokun and the others, and finally said in a deep voice, "Since you have all made a decision, Bin Huang will not force you. But since you have come to the eastern continent, you can stay here. Now that the Qinyuan sacred ground is in charge of the human cultivation world, you can be the guest elders of the sacred ground and can cultivate in the Qinyuan realm. If you want to set up a sect and accept disciples, Bin Huang will not stop you. Because Bin Huang only has one request. You are not to be enemies with Bin Huang in the future, and if the human race starts a war with other races, you will also have to participate in the war." Since Xiaokun and the others did not want to go back. Fine. Then they could only stay in the eastern continent and serve the human race. Or else, if the Golden Rock King and the others ran out of the eastern continent and turned to the demon race, it would be really awkward. More importantly, although the Golden Rock King and the others' strength was average, they came from the heavenly pattern island, which was the most important thing. Compared to the endless disputes of the various races for millions of years, many races had lost their inheritance. Heavenly Pattern Island. It could be said that for millions of years, the inheritance had not been cut off. Xia Chao, Star Sage, and the Tongtian ancestor were all figures of the ancient era. They achieved immortality in an alternative way and stayed on the Heavenly Pattern Island as the inheritors of the civilization. Sometimes, knowledge was really better than a lot of power. If the Golden Rock King joined the demon race because of the Golden Rock King, the situation would become very troublesome. Therefore, no matter what, Qin Shujian could not let the Golden Rock King and the others leave. If they wanted to stay in the Eastern Continent, they could only stay in the Eastern Continent. But The Eastern continent did not raise idle people. Even the spirit chi that they breathed in had its value. If they wanted to cultivate stably in the Eastern continent, that was not a problem. But they had to be loyal to the Qin Emperor and serve the human emperor. Hearing this, the Golden Rock King and the others looked at each other and saw the solemn expression in each other's eyes. Since they had already said this, there was naturally no room for negotiation. If they refused, then the only way was to return to the heavenly pattern island. This Qin Shi Huang would most likely ask them to go back. But if they refused, if he had to stay in the 4 great continents, it would be impossible. The Golden Rock King had a premonition. If he did so, then there would be no friendship between the two sides. At that time, there would be bloodshed. Thinking of this, the Golden Rock King and the others also made a decision. We are willing to stay in the Eastern continent. All right, everyone, please swear the oath of the rules. Qin Shi Jian nodded and said. He found that the rule oath was really useful. When something happened, it was fine to swear the rule oath. Anyway, no one could go against it unless they wanted to die. This way, the reliability of the rule oath was much higher, second only to the loyalty of the people he saw every day. But to be honest, Qin Shi Jian rarely looked at people's loyalty now because there was no need. If they really wanted to betray, then they would betray. With his current strength, he did not have to worry about the betrayal of others, and it would have a major impact on him. To put it bluntly, even if the entire Qianyuan sacred ground betrayed him, Qin Shi Jian was confident that he could suppress them with one hand. This was the benefit of having absolute strength. There were no conspiracies or tricks. In the face of absolute strength, it was like a bubble that could be popped with a poke. The decision had been made. Then there was naturally no problem with swearing the rule oath. Not only the Golden Rock King and the others, but even the 6 elders at the peak of the God martial arts realm also swore the rule oath at the same time. It was considered that they had sold themselves to the Qianyuan sacred ground. The entire process, there were no waves. Because Qin Shi Jian was so strong that even if all the forces of the heavenly pattern island were used, they might not be able to compete with him. In this way, as long as they did not want to die, there would be no problem. After everyone swore the rule oath, Qin Shi Jian's solemn expression disappeared and was replaced with a smile. With all of you joining us, the strength of the Qianyuan sacred ground has increased a little. It is really a cause for celebration, but in the current situation, it is not appropriate to publicize it. I hope you don't mind. You flatter us, the Golden Rock King said in a low voice. The smile on Qin Shi Jian's face became even more enthusiastic. 2 third-tier celestial beings, 1 first-tier celestial being, and 6 cultivators at the peak of the God martial arts realm. This kind of strength, in other clans, it could only be said to be ordinary. But in today's human race, it was a big deal. Especially the Golden Rock King and the Azure Wave King. They had both stayed at the 3rd-tier celestial being for a long time. It was only because of the restrictions of the emperors on the heavenly pattern island that they had not broken through to the 4th-tier celestial being and promoted to Saint Realm cultivators. Now they had left the heavenly pattern island. In Qin Shi Jian's opinion, they should be able to successfully break through soon. In this case, the human race would have 2 more Saint Realm cultivators. As for the 6 cultivators at the peak of the God martial arts realm, if they were trained, they would also have a chance to break through to the celestial being realm. It could be said that, although Heavenly Pattern Island had not been able to produce experts at the 4th-tier celestial being realm because of the restrictions of the emperors, and because of the attacks of the beasts, there were not many celestial being cultivators. But there were still many cultivators below the celestial being realm. The reason was, it was because Heavenly Pattern Island was rich in spirit chi. Everyone was born at the real martial arts realm and avoided the foundation. It was also because of the abundant spirit chi. The progress of the cultivators was also very fast. Qin Shi Jian even thought about whether he should find an opportunity to pull all the cultivators of Heavenly Pattern Island into the human race's camp. In this way, the human race might produce a group of celestial being cultivators. However, he was just thinking about this matter. If he really did this, It would be equivalent to cutting off Heavenly Pattern Island's persistence for millions of years. Moreover, the appearance of the Qian Yuan realm to a certain extent was also to cultivate experts for the human race. In addition, the spirit qi in the Liang Mountain area was gradually increasing. Not long after, the creatures in this area should be able to reach the level of being born as true martial arts. If we can raise all the spirit qi in the eastern continent to the point where everyone is born as true martial arts, then the human race will truly prosper. Qin Shujian had some thoughts in his mind. Following that, he looked at the Golden Rock King and the others and said, "The Qian Yuan realm occupies a large area. Other than some mountains and earth veins that have owners, you can choose to live in the remaining places. If you don't like the Qian Yuan realm, then you can go to other places in the eastern continent." Hearing this, no one suggested leaving the Qian Yuan realm. They weren't fools. It was obvious that the density of spirit qi in the Qian Yuan realm was not something the outside world could compare to. Cultivating here, it was much better than in the outside world. However, after Qin Shujian finished speaking, the Golden Rock King did not remain silent. "Emperor Qin, I want to see the cultivator who used my demon clan's inheritance." He still wanted to take a look. Who exactly did Qin Shujian pass down the inheritance to? This way, it could be considered as fulfilling the Star Saint's instructions. Hearing this, Qin Shujian naturally had no reason to refuse. Lion Tiger Plain, Ox Demon Cave. Niu Dali was originally sleeping, but when he sensed the arrival of Qin Shujian, he hurriedly transformed into his human form. "Emperor Qin, this is the Demon Vein Master, Niu Dali." The demon clan's inheritance was also given to him. Qin Shujian turned his head and introduced him to the Golden Rock King. Following that, he then said to Niu Dali, "This is the Golden Rock King of the Heavenly Pattern Islands Saint God sect." The demon clan's inheritance came from the Saint God sect. Hearing this, Niu Dali looked at the Golden Rock King and said with a silly smile, "Greetings, Golden Rock King." "Greetings, Vein Master Niu." The Golden Rock King's expression was somewhat complicated. He had imagined that Niu Dali might look mighty and majestic, or that he would reveal his domineering aura, but he had never thought that the other party would look like this. It was an ordinary green bull. Moreover, he didn't look very smart. However, the other party's aura was truly powerful. At least, the Golden Rock King felt a slight tremble in front of him. This kind of strength had already surpassed his own by a lot. Qin Shujian said, "How is Vein Master Niu refining the Demon Emperor's blood essence?" "I have already refined a lot. In a few more days, I should be able to refine all of it." Niu Dali touched the horns on his head and said, "I am already at the 6th level of the Heaven Realm. If I were to refine all of it, I would probably be able to reach the 10th level of the Heaven Realm." Qin Shujian nodded. The 10th level of the Heaven Realm was about there. As an expert of the upper 3 true immortal realms, the blood essence that was produced was naturally incomparably powerful. If it was in the past, perhaps a true immortal could be born on the spot. However, one had to know that the Demon Emperor's blood essence had already been worn down by millions of years. After such a long time, the power within the blood essence had already been exhausted to a serious extent. But even so, it was still able to allow a God Martial Realm Demon Clan to have a chance of breaking through to the 10th level of the Heaven Realm. To this, Qin Shujian couldn't help but sigh with emotion. He even wanted to go back to the Heavenly Pattern Island and ask if the Star Saint had any other Demon Emperor's blood essence. If there was, he would give himself a drop as well. Qin Shujian felt, if he could devour and refine the Demon Emperor's blood essence, his strength would definitely reach an extremely strong level. The Golden Rock King asked, "I wonder how strong Vein Master Niu was when he refined the Demon Clan's inheritance?" "It seems to be the 4th level of the Divine Martial Realm." Niu Dali touched his horns and said uncertainly. Hearing that, the Golden Rock King's heart was sour. 4th level of the Divine Martial Realm, 6th level of the Heaven Realm. The speed at which his cultivation soared was simply enviable. He had been cultivating bitterly for thousands of years, and until now, he was only at the 3rd level of the Heaven Realm. And looking at Niu Dali's situation, If he completely refined the inheritance, there was still hope for him to break through to the 10th level of the heaven realm. As a result, the Golden Rock King was even more sour. If the inheritance was given to him, he would also be able to reach the 10th level of the heaven realm. It wouldn't be like before, where he was chased by a powerful beast for 4 to 5 months. Thinking of this matter, the Golden Rock King wanted to cry. Right now, he also wanted to go back to the heavenly pattern island and ask his ancestor if there was any demon emperor's blood essence left behind. At this moment, the Golden Rock King didn't want to work hard anymore. After leaving the Ox Demon Cave, Qin Shujian brought the Golden Rock King to meet Fire Sage and the others. They were all from the Demon Clan. It was necessary for everyone to meet. Looking at Fire Sage, Jizhou, and Wushan, who were at the 8th level of the Heaven Realm, the Golden Rock King trembled again. He discovered. He, who could be considered a top expert in the Heavenly Pattern Island, seemed to have become a weakling ever since he left the island. That aura of the 8th level of the Heaven Realm, even if he didn't deliberately emit it, it still made the Golden Rock King feel a great pressure. Are the humans really that weak? He couldn't help but have such a thought in his heart. According to Qin Shujian, the strength of the humans was much weaker than the other races. But from the looks of it, the strength of the humans still made the Golden Rock King tremble. Regarding this, he couldn't help but wonder how powerful the races of the other continents were. Qin Shujian looked at Fire Sage and said, "Is there still a Golden Rock clan in the Western continent's Demon Clan?" After the ancient times were destroyed, the strength of the Demon Clan was not light. The Golden Rock clan once competed with the dragons for the position of Demon Emperor. In the end, the Golden Rock clan was defeated and directly left the Demon Clan under the pressure of the Demon Emperor. Later on, the Demon Emperor also ordered the Demon Clan to attack the Golden Rock clan, and both sides suffered casualties. Until 30,000 years ago, the Golden Rock Emperor fell at the hands of the Demon Emperor. In the end, the Golden Rock secret realm was sealed and has not been opened since. Fire Sage said calmly, "Such a thing, after tens of thousands of years, was enough to completely silence." Qin Shujian also understood the reason why he had never heard of the Golden Rock clan in the Western continent. Since the secret realm had been sealed 30,000 years ago, it naturally made sense. Following that, Fire Sage looked at the Golden Rock King in front of him with a puzzled face. "To be honest, this is the first time I've seen the Golden Rock clan. Could it be that the Golden Rock clan has already opened the secret realm?" She didn't have any information about when the Golden Rock clan had sided with the humans. Moreover, if the Golden Rock clan had sided with the humans, how could Qin Shujian not know what had happened to the Golden Rock clan? For a moment, Fire Sage was a little confused. The Golden Rock King at the side was also recalling what he had heard just now. P.S. Welcome to the group, V Group, full of 1,500 fans, 110-566-9567, Group 951578438. Chapter 650. The Golden Rock clan had broken ties with the Demon Clan. In other words, the Golden Rock clan no longer belonged to the Demon Clan. The Golden Rock King was a little dumbfounded. He realized that he was no longer a member of the Demon Clan. He ignored the Golden Rock King, who was deep in thought. After Qin Shujian gave a few more instructions to Fire Sage and the others, he left with the Golden Rock King. In the Qian Yuan realm, the people from Heavenly Pattern Island, they had all been arranged by Qin Shujian to stay in the Qian Yuan realm. There were a few more experts on the heaven list, which caused many people to be puzzled. However, because Qin Shujian had already instructed them, therefore, Xiakun and the others did not reveal much about the Heavenly Pattern Island. Facing such a mysterious expert, Yi Zichen thought to himself, no matter how puzzled the others were, they could not ask. Qin Shujian did not say. Naturally, no one probed too much. "Senior, during the great calamity of the ancient demon abyss, did the demons attack the sea?" Pouring himself a cup of spirit tea, Qin Shujian seemed to be talking to himself. And in front of him, it was a stone saber that stayed there. There were also demons attacking the sea, but there were too many fierce beasts in the sea, so it was difficult for the demons to attack the sea. I don't know the details after that, because I had already gone to the heavenly pattern island. Although the demons attacked the sea, they did not attack the heavenly pattern island. Godslayer said indifferently. Hearing this, Qin Shujian was deep in thought. He was also thinking about a way out. If the demon abyss really landed on the eastern continent and the human clan was completely defeated, Qin Shujian would have to consider whether to let the human clan retreat into the sea. However, there were endless dangers in the Sea of Death. What he feared the most was, it was the deepest part of the sea. It was rumored that the Emperor of Heaven and the other emperors went deep inside, but they did not get any benefits. Suppressing the doubts in his heart, Qin Shujian's gaze fell on his body. His life source was still steadily increasing, but it was still a little away from 1,000,000,000,000. Then, he calmed his mind and continued to enter the long river of laws, trying to comprehend more about the laws of strength. A month later, Qin Shujian's heart throbbed. After retreating from the long river of laws, he looked at his attribute panel and saw that his life simulation had already broken through the 1,000,000,000 mark. They're finally here. Looking at the trillions of life sources, Qin Shujian let out a long sigh of relief. At this moment, the Gue Yuan ancestral cannon also had a plus sign that could be upgraded. But this time, Qin Shujian did not immediately advance. Instead, he walked out of the Qin Yuan world and headed for a secluded spot in the endless mountain range. Subsequently, he set up layers upon layers of defensive arrays around him, and then took out the heaven list as the core of the array, greatly increasing the power of the array. After doing all this, Qin Shujian calmed himself down and focused on his attribute panel. With a thought, the source of life was completely emptied. A vast and mighty force surged out from his body. Then, one by one, his acupoints opened up crazily. What a terrifying power! And so it spread out. Boom! An aura as deep as the abyss swept out from Qin Shujian's body, causing the surrounding space to shatter inch by inch. At this moment, all the defensive formations that had been set up were activated. With the suppression of the heaven list, the power of the array had reached the limit of the celestial being. But even so, the array was still trembling. At this moment, Qin Shujian had completely ignored the surrounding environment. With the breakthrough of the Gue Yuan ancestral cannon, he was already immersed in the changes in his body. That powerful aura was rising steadily. Wave after wave surged violently. In the end, half of the arrays that had been set up were broken. Buzz! The heaven list shone brightly as the core of the array, constantly strengthening the array. In the sea of consciousness, Godslayer felt Qin Shujian's soaring aura and was shocked. Almost every breath that passed, the other party's aura was stronger by a notch. That surge of power, it made this Zhu Bing fall into a daze. The reincarnation of a powerhouse. He is definitely the reincarnation of a powerhouse. Godslayer's body trembled slightly. Endless sharpness spread out from the stone saber, suppressing Qin Shujian's sea of consciousness. Until now, he was already certain that Qin Shujian was definitely the reincarnation of a powerhouse. Or else, there was no way to explain why the other party's strength would soar every once in a while. Very soon, Godslayer fell into confusion again. If he is the reincarnation of a powerhouse, it is impossible for me to not notice it at all. Unless he is a true immortal of the upper 3 levels, it is possible for him to hide everything. As Zhu Bing, his perception was very strong. It was not an easy task to completely hide from its perception. In Godslayer's opinion, to have the chance to hide from his perception, perhaps only a true immortal of the upper 3 levels could do this. Then, the God-slaying saber had another thought. Is he really the reincarnation of a true immortal of the upper 3 levels? Or is he not the reincarnation of a true immortal, but the reincarnation of an existence above the rules? He thought of the name above the rules that Qin Shujian once knew. Then he thought of the inheritance that the other party had. Originally, Godslayer only thought that the other party had obtained the inheritance of an existence above the rules. But now that he thought about it, things might not be that simple. Every once in a while, the other party's strength would soar. In this case, it was not caused by cultivation, but more like the awakening of a backup left by the previous life, combined with the name above the rules that the other party once knew. At this moment, Godslayer was sure. Qin Shujian was definitely the reincarnation of an existence above the rules. Thinking of this possibility, the god-slaying saber's body trembled violently. If he is an existence above the rules, then he will definitely grow very quickly, and even reach a realm that the Emperor of Heaven has never set foot in. In this way, the great calamity of the demonic abyss may not be a concern. Godslayer was very excited. To be able to fight against the demonic abyss, or to solve the hidden danger of the demonic abyss, it was naturally an excellent thing. Although he was not a human, he was Zhu Bing of the human race. If the demonic abyss came to destroy the human race, it was naturally not what Godslayer wanted to see. Just as Godslayer was imagining things, Qin Shujian had completed his breakthrough. With the opening of the last aperture, the originally extremely powerful aura exploded at this moment. Boom! All the formations shattered. The suppressive force of the heaven leaderboard fell, trying to forcibly seal all the aura. Qin Shujian reacted at this time, and directly controlled his own aura to retract, then grabbed the heaven leaderboard in his hand. As the aura disappeared, the shattered space around him was recovering bit by bit. Now Qin Shujian did not pay attention to the changes around him. His eyes were already on the heaven leaderboard. Name: Qin Shujian race. Human age, 32 realm. Celestial realm level 7 combat strength. 120,000 talent assessment. Excellent, 120,000 combat strength. Qin Shujian smiled. His combat strength was at 73,000 when he completed Celestial Realm level 6. His combat strength had officially reached 120,000 when he completed Celestial Realm level 7. A breakthrough. His combat strength had soared by nearly 50,000. At this moment, the number of apertures opened in Qin Shujian's body had reached 51,200. More than 50,000 apertures. It was as bright as the sun and stars. Endless power was being nurtured from within, as if it would erupt with shocking power at any time. In order to cultivate the origin-returning ancestral canon to the Great Circle, one must open 129,600 stellar acupoints. Now that I have cultivated to the Great Circle of the 7th layer of the Sky Human stage, I have opened a total of 51,200 stellar acupoints. So far, I've opened about 40% of all the apertures. Based on the current growth rate, if I can open all 129,600 star acupoints, my combat strength will definitely reach the level of 300,000, or even surpass 300,000. Qin Shujian thought to himself. Thinking of this possibility, his heart was stirred. After reaching this level, Qin Shujian found that it was no longer difficult to calculate how much combat strength he would have when he cultivated to Celestial Realm level 10. 300,000 combat strength. More, no less. True immortal. Qin Shujian's eyes were cold, and a cold smile appeared on his face. So what if he was a true immortal? If he really reached Celestial Realm level 10, he might be able to compete with a true immortal in the middle 3 levels. Even now, Qin Shujian was confident that he could compete with a true immortal in the lower 3 levels. This time, he did not look for Godslayer to confirm because there was no need for that. After looking at the surrounding environment that had been completely devoured due to the shattered space, Qin Shujian returned to the Qian Yuan realm. He did not break through in the Qian Yuan realm. There was only one reason. He was worried that his aura would be too strong during the breakthrough and cause some problems in the Qian Yuan realm. As a small world, naturally, it was not something that could be destroyed with just a strong aura. But there was one thing to know. There were still many human cultivators in the Qian Yuan realm. There was no problem with the small world. But it did not mean that there was no problem with those cultivators. The aura was oppressive. It was not a joke. If the difference in strength reached a certain level, it was normal for the aura to be oppressive. After returning to the Qian Yuan realm, Qin Shujian did not meet anyone. Instead, he stayed in his courtyard and thought about the next move of the human race. In the small courtyard, there was only one person sitting alone. I have now broken through to the perfected 7th level of the Celestial Realm. In terms of strength, I am comparable to a true immortal in the lower 3 levels at their peak, although I might not be able to match a second or third level true immortal. But a first level true immortal should not be a problem. Now, in some races, there are ancient true immortals who have been sealed. These true immortals have been sealed for at least 200,000 years. As time passes, it is difficult for true immortals to retain much of their strength. Someone as strong as Xia Yi, who was a true immortal in the middle 3 levels, can only exert the strength of a first or second level true immortal with a wisp of his remnant soul after his death. Perhaps there are true immortals in the various races who are stronger than Xia Yi, or true immortals who have preserved their strength better. But the strength they can exert should not reach the middle 3 levels. Qin Shujian sat on the stone bench and analyzed the strength of the various races. After so many years, in order to retain the strength of a middle 3 levels true immortal, one had to have the strength of an upper 3 levels true immortal before being sealed. To be honest, if the various races in the past had true immortals in the upper 3 levels true immortals, then the human race would not have to fight at all. In the face of such an ancient emperor-level powerhouse, no one would be able to resist. Then, the races with such a powerhouse would have long unified the 4 major continents and would not have been divided like this. After all, after the end of the ancient era, the true immortals in the upper 3 levels had all fallen. In the next few 100,000 years, the middle 3 levels true immortals were the strongest. Until 200 to 300,000 years ago, the strongest in the 4 major continents was Xia Yi, but he was only a middle 3 levels true immortal and had not reached the level of being invincible. Or else, Xia Yi would not use such a decisive method to drag everyone down with him. In other words, even if there are powerful true immortals in the 4 major continents, they are at most comparable to a 3rd level true immortal. No, there might not even be a 3rd level true immortal, and only a 2nd level true immortal. Thinking of this, Qin Shujian decided to ask Godslayer, "Senior, how big is the gap between a 1st level true immortal, a 2nd level true immortal, and a 3rd level true immortal?" His understanding of the strength of a true immortal. No one should know better than Zhu Bing. As expected, after Qin Shujian asked, Godslayer said in a deep voice, "A 1st level true immortal is what I told you. After transforming into an immortal body, the guaranteed combat power is about 100,000. A 2nd level true immortal is twice as strong, and so is a 3rd level true immortal. So, the lowest combat power of a 2nd level true immortal is 200,000, and a 3rd level true immortal is 400,000? That's right. The gap is not small." Qin Shujian suddenly sighed. If there was no gap between true essence and immortal essence, there might be a way to make up for it. But there were all kinds of differences between true immortals and those below true immortals. He realized doubling the price would really kill. Qin Shujian shook his head helplessly. "It seems that I can't do anything," he had originally thought. Now that he had the strength of a true immortal, he might as well not wait for Emperor Zhao to break through and directly flip the table and lead the human race to kill. Anyway, the Demon Emperor and the God Emperor would definitely not be his match. But now that he understood the gap between each level of the lower 3 true immortals, Qin Shujian extinguished the thought in his heart again. There was no other way. The gap was too big. His current strength should be able to compete with a 1st level true immortal, but he was still a little lacking if he wanted to compete with a 2nd level true immortal. If he encountered a 3rd level true immortal, there was a high chance that he would turn around and run. Although the ancient true immortals would be obstructed by the thunder tribulation when they appeared, if the various races were really ruthless enough to bring out a few true immortals, Qin Shujian felt that there was a possibility that he would be surrounded and killed. "I can't do anything. I can't do anything now. At least before Emperor Zhao becomes an immortal, the human race can't flip the table." Qin Shujian took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. Now was not the time to do anything. 7th level true immortal. It could only be said that he was qualified to compete with the various races. But to flip the table and directly start a war, and then directly say that everyone present was trash, that was still a little lacking. He felt that, to do that, he might really have to reach the limit of the true immortal. However, even so, Qin Shujian was now very confident that he could protect Emperor Zhao from attaining the Tao. The combat power of a living true immortal was not something that a sealed ancient true immortal could compare to, because there was a time limit for a sealed true immortal. Although it wouldn't last for 3 seconds, it wouldn't last long. The longer it lasted, the stronger the thunder tribulation was. On the contrary, the role that a cultivator with the combat power of a true immortal could play was not something that a sealed true immortal could compare to. The biggest difference was in endurance. Endurance? Qin Shujian sighed. He didn't expect, one day, he would also be reduced to the point where he had to compete with others in endurance. At this moment, Qin Shujian stopped drinking tea and waved his hand to open the entrance of the Qian Yuan realm. Then, a stream of light escaped from the entrance and appeared in front of him in the blink of an eye. Emperor Zhao, why are you here? Looking at the person in front of him, Qin Shujian's lips curled into a smile. After the establishment of the Qian Yuan realm, Emperor Zhao finally had no way to break in directly. He had to wait for him to open the entrance of the Qian Yuan realm. After Emperor Zhao sat down in front of Qin Shujian, a faint smile appeared on his face. Some time ago, there were some strange movements in the Dongguan prefecture. A few more names appeared on the heaven list of the Qianyuan sacred ground. May I ask if there are any strong cultivators from the sea region? Emperor Zhao is well informed. Qin Shujian wasn't too surprised. What happened in the Dongguan prefecture couldn't be hidden from the imperial court. Coupled with the heaven list, it was even more eye-catching. However, others didn't dare to ask him, but Emperor Zhao could. Will they have an impact on the human race? They won't. Qin Shujian shook his head. Tianwen Island has existed in the Dead Sea region for millions of years. That place is completely isolated from the world. A million years is enough to forget a lot of things, although the inheritance is still there. But Emperor Zhao should understand that the inheritance won't change, but people's hearts will. It's good that there won't be any problems. Since you have a plan, Bin Huang naturally won't object. Emperor Zhao said. Qin Shujian looked at him suspiciously. Emperor Zhao, you came here this time only for Xiakun and the others. A few little celestial beings don't need to trouble you. A few days ago, Marquis Baiyun came to Bin Huang and asked about Bin Huang's attainment of the Tao. Emperor Zhao said slowly. Qin Shujian didn't speak, but listened to what the other party had to say next. The other party came all the way here. It couldn't be because of Xiakun and the others. In that case, it could only be related to the attainment of the Tao. The conversation didn't last long. Qin Shujian understood why Emperor Zhao came here. After a while, he looked at Emperor Zhao and said, "You have made a decision, and Bin Huang won't interfere. This is good. Your chances of attaining the Tao will be greater." Speaking of this, Qin Shujian took out 2 elixirs from the heaven list and handed them to Emperor Zhao. This is a 10th level fate elixir. It can restore the qi and blood of cultivators below the perfected immortal realm to their peak. 10th level fate elixir? Emperor Zhao said with a strange expression. Bin Huang only knows about the 9th level fate elixir. Above the 9th level is the divine elixir. I've never heard of the 10th level. He knew about the 9th level elixir. He also knew about the divine elixir, but he was unfamiliar with the 10th level elixir. However, in Emperor Zhao's eyes, the 2 elixirs in front of him could swallow spiritual qi as if they were living cultivators. The elixirs themselves also exuded a strong aura, which shocked him. Qin Shujian said, "Above the 9th level and below the divine elixir are the 10th level elixirs. There shouldn't be any in the past, but now that Bin Huang has refined them, there will naturally be some." Bin Huang is impressed by your skills, Emperor Qin. Emperor Zhao also complimented him. To be able to refine elixirs beyond the 9th level, such skills were indeed incredible. Not everyone could refine divine elixirs. Only perfected immortals were qualified to refine divine elixirs. The 2 fate elixirs in front of him were naturally not at the level of divine elixirs, but they were far beyond the 9th level. In this way, it was reasonable to call them 10th level. After getting the elixirs, Emperor Zhao did not stay. His body gradually dissipated, and finally turned into a stream of light and left with the 2 elixirs. Seeing this scene, Qin Shujian was not surprised. From the beginning to the end, it was only a wisp of Emperor Zhao's divine thought that appeared here. The real Emperor Zhao was still in Zhongzhou and had never left. This was a half-immortal expert. A wisp of his divine thought was enough to travel all over the world and set foot on hundreds of millions of miles of mountains and rivers. In fact, it was not just a half-immortal. Even an ordinary celestial being cultivator could do this. The yang spirit of the god martial arts realm could also leave the body, but it could not go so far. Emperor Zhao left. Qin Shujian did not waste any time. After leaving the Qian Yuan realm, he went to the western prefecture. In the nine-headed secret realm, Qin Shujian and the Dog Emperor sat opposite each other. Emperor Qin seems to have become different again. The Dog Emperor looked at the person in front of him in surprise, as if he thought he had seen wrongly. After looking at him seriously for a while, his heart gradually became heavy. He was stronger. Compared to the last time, Qin Shujian in front of him had become stronger. There was no basis for it. Such a guess was all because of the Dog Emperor's own feeling. To this, he did not doubt it at all. When one's cultivation reached the Dog Emperor's level, he was extremely confident in his own perception. Since he sensed that Qin Shujian had become stronger, then he had become stronger. To this, the Dog Emperor had to ask carefully, Emperor Qin's cultivation has broken through again? He remembered. Last time, Qin Shujian said that he was in the 6th level of the celestial being realm. Could it be that he had broken through to the 7th level of the celestial being realm this time? A supreme expert of the nirvana realm. He felt a fatal threat from a cultivator in the 6th or 7th level of the celestial being realm. If this matter was spread out, no one would believe it. But in the Dog Emperor's eyes, it was not funny at all. I just happened to break through and reach the 7th level of the celestial being realm. After receiving a definite answer, the Dog Emperor thought to himself, as expected. Soon after, he calmed himself down, then asked, Emperor Qin was already comparable to a half-immortal when he was in the 6th level of the celestial being realm. Could it be that now that he has broken through, he has a chance to be comparable to a true immortal? Against ordinary true immortals of the lower 3 levels, it should not be a problem. Qin Shujian pondered for a moment, then said calmly. The Dog Emperor's heart trembled again. However, he did not completely believe those words. Although the nine-headed dog clan had an ancient true immortal, it did not mean that the Dog Emperor had seen the might of a true immortal. For 200,000 years, there were no living beings that could successfully prove their Tao. Even if there was a true immortal who had broken through the seal, the Dog Emperor did not directly face that might. It was hard to judge the strength of a true immortal. But he knew one thing. A true immortal was an existence that was completely above the celestial being realm. Even a supreme expert of the nirvana realm was like an ant in front of a true immortal. Qin Shujian in front of him was strong. But in the Dog Emperor's eyes, he should still be slightly weaker than a true immortal. Of course, he did not say those words out loud. After all, if he refuted Qin Shujian, it would make everyone feel awkward. There was no need for that. After he calmed down, the Dog Emperor said, Qin Huang suddenly came to the nine-headed secret realm. Is it because Zhao Emperor is about to achieve Tao? Zhao Emperor is indeed about to achieve Tao. When? In 4 months. Good. When Zhao Emperor achieves Tao in 4 months, the nine-headed dog clan will do what we promised and help Zhao Emperor. But Ben Huang cannot guarantee the success or failure. The Dog Emperor nodded and said, After all, Qin Huang should understand that we only have one true immortal in our clan. As for the other clans, although there are not many true immortals in each clan, there are still many of them added together. Under such circumstances, our clan will not be able to play a big role. In the Dog Emperor's eyes, the probability of Zhao Emperor achieving Tao was indeed not high. But there was nothing he could do. The nine-headed dog clan had its own difficulties. The Devil clan was a big threat. If there were no humans at the front, the nine-headed dog clan would not be able to withstand the pressure from the Devil clan. It was not the same as before. In the past, the rules of heaven and earth were not perfect. Even if there was a difference in strength between the clans, the balance could still be maintained. But not now. When the rules of heaven and earth were perfect, the top clans would benefit the most. Those sealed true immortals were waiting for this moment. The Devil clan would not let go of this chance to reach the peak. This was also the main reason why the Dog Emperor agreed to the alliance. Qin Shujian said, "Dog Emperor, there is no need to worry. The decision has been made. There is no need to think too much." Compared to the nine-headed dog clan, Bin Huang is more unwilling to see the human clan fail. By the same logic, since Zhao Emperor dares to achieve Dao, he must be confident. During this period of time, Bin Huang has been traveling among the clans. The nine-headed dog clan is not the only ally. When the time comes, Bin Huang will give the order. Once Bin Huang gives the order, he will immediately send true immortals to help. The human clan will take care of the rest of the matter. Qin Shujian's confidence. This caused the Dog Emperor's solemn expression to soften a little. Is the Qin Emperor that confident? If I am not confident, how can I be an emperor? Qin Shujian smiled. The Dog Emperor nodded and said, "Don't worry, Qin Huang. Since we have already agreed, we will not go back on our word. When Qin Huang gives the order, our true immortals will naturally help Zhao Emperor." Good. Qin Shujian nodded and then changed the topic. "Dog Emperor, you have also received a message from the Qinyuan sacred ground. Is there any news about the flood dragon that was attacked by the extraterritorial demons?" The purpose of his visit this time. The first was about Zhao Emperor's attainment of Dao. The second was about the martial sage. This flood dragon was at the 9th level of the celestial being realm. Qin Shujian could not forget about it. There was no other way. The flood dragon race was simply too useful. Hearing this, the Dog Emperor shook his head and said, "The flood dragon's whereabouts are very secretive and his strength is extremely strong. It is not easy to accurately track him down." During this period of time, he had also attacked many forces and killed a few powerful cultivators. That said, every time a ruler attacked, he immediately fled and didn't confront the ruler head-on at all. This flood dragon must be found. Qin Shujian's expression was also solemn. "Dog Emperor, you should understand how great the threat of the extraterritorial demons is. This flood dragon hunts powerful cultivators everywhere in order to seize the power of the rules. Once he has seized enough power of the rules, his cultivation will advance by leaps and bounds. Moreover, in the endless void, there are too many powerful extraterritorial demons. If he opens a passage between heaven and earth and leads other demons here, I am afraid it will be a big problem." Qin Huang's worries are somewhat reasonable, but the possibility of this extraterritorial demon opening a passage is not very high. The Dog Emperor shook his head slightly. "Why do you say so?" "Qin Huang, although the extraterritorial demons are a complete race, they will also devour each other. They are one, but they are also opposed to each other. For this extraterritorial demon, this world is his home ground. Unless it is absolutely necessary, he will not allow other extraterritorial demons to divide this world. Therefore, as long as he is not forced to a dead end, this extraterritorial demon will definitely not force open a passage and lead other extraterritorial demons here. On the contrary, if we force him too much, that possibility may arise." The Dog Emperor said in a deep voice. The extraterritorial demons were not a secret in the ancient times. The nine-headed dog clan. It was also one of the big clans in the ancient times. Therefore, there was a corresponding information about the extraterritorial demons left behind. As the current emperor of the nine-headed dog clan, the Dog Emperor naturally had the right to know all the information about the inheritance. Hearing the Dog Emperor's analysis, Qin Shujian also felt that it made sense. He originally thought that if an extraterritorial demon entered this world, he would think of a way to share it with other demons of his kind. But now it seemed that that was not possible. The Dog Emperor is right, but the extraterritorial demon is still a threat. Rumor has it that the flood dragon he took over was only at the 9th level of the celestial being realm, but now it seems to have grown to the 10th level of the celestial being realm. If this continues, it will be a big problem. Qin Shujian said calmly. Speaking of which, he looked at the Dog Emperor and said again, Bin Huang hopes that if the Dog Emperor finds out where the extraterritorial demon is, you can send a message to the human race. When the time comes, Bin Huang will personally deal with it and ensure that the extraterritorial demon has no way to escape. No problem. The Dog Emperor nodded. He was aware of what had happened in the human territory. When the Flood Dragon attacked the human territory, the Black Emperor personally took action, but still failed to take it down. The Dog Emperor also understood his own strength. Even if he was stronger than the Black Emperor, he was not that much stronger. If he really wanted to take action, he might not be able to take down the Flood Dragon. On the contrary, probably only this Qin Emperor in front of him could guarantee that he could take down the Flood Dragon. After chatting with the Dog Emperor for a while, Qin Shujian stood up and said goodbye. After leaving the nine-headed dog clan, he immediately went to the subduing dragons. Immediately after, Qin Shujian left the western continent and went to the southern continent and the northern continent. The places he went, they were all allies or traitors who had used half of the rules in the past to trick them. These forces, they would all help the human race to produce true immortals in the future. The blood cloud surged. 100,000 miles of blood cloud covered the sky and the sun, covering the territory of a small clan. They could only see boundless killing intent descending from the heavens and earth, causing the territory of that small clan to be plunged into chaos and slaughter. In the blood cloud, one by one, the demon cultivators walked out and killed the living beings below. The secret realm shook. A powerful aura was emitted from it. Blood demon, you dare to come to my cloud clan to kill? You're courting death. The void cracked, and the blood cloud in the sky quickly disappeared, replaced by black clouds that covered the sky. Si Hanhai looked at the black clouds, and an evil smile appeared on his face. In the next moment, he had already merged with the blood cloud. Immediately after, the blood cloud's power increased greatly, and all the black clouds that were closing in were forcibly assimilated. The two clashed. It was as if the world had turned into blood and black, and then they were corroding and swallowing each other. Such a huge commotion naturally attracted the attention of other cultivators. Blood cloud, blood demon, Si Hanhai. Qin Shujian looked at the blood cloud that covered the sky in front of him, and his eyes flickered. That shocking murderous intent. It made his spiritual deity throb slightly. Although that murderous intent was not a threat to him, it was extremely pure. When the human race walked out of the East Continent to fight, Si Hanhai had also unleashed his strength, but the murderous power that he showed at that time could not be compared to the current one. As for Si Hanhai betraying the human race and establishing the demon race, Qin Shujian did not have any thoughts. As long as the other party did not become enemies with the human race, there would be no problem. Therefore, during this period of time, Qin Shujian did not deliberately look for Si Hanhai's whereabouts, nor did he deliberately kill in the North Continent. However, what he did not expect was, he occasionally came to the North Continent and coincidentally bumped into Si Hanhai. As for the forces that Si Hanhai attacked, Qin Shujian also knew a little. The Cloud Clan, an ordinary clan with a 10th level celestial being ruler overseeing it. Looking at the two sides that were fighting in the sky, Qin Shujian did not approach, but he did not leave either. He just stood there and watched from afar. He also wanted to see it. What level had Si Hanhai's strength reached? Senior, can one's strength really become stronger after becoming a demon? Looking at the two sides that were fighting, Qin Shujian did not quite understand. Could it be? Was it really twice as strong as becoming a demon and 3 times weaker than becoming a demon? Looking at the situation in front of him, Si Hanhai was not just twice as strong. If he was really so powerful, he had to consider whether he should think of a way to become a demon too. In that case, he might be able to hang a perfected immortal up and beat him up. Godslayer said, "It's not that becoming a demon will definitely make one stronger. It's just that cultivators who become a demon mostly follow their own hearts. Those who understand their hearts can become stronger. Some people who enter the Tao from the demon can also break through several realms in an instant. Some people who enter the demon from the Tao can also suffer a backlash and their realms fall." Hearing that, Qin Shujian nodded slightly. That made sense. If becoming a demon really made one twice as strong, then who would be willing to become a demon? At this moment, the outcome of the battle between the Black Cloud and the Blood Cloud seemed to have been decided. The power of the Black Cloud soared and swallowed 3/4 of the Blood Cloud. In the end, the Blood Cloud exploded with a loud bang, blowing up a large part of the Black Cloud. Then, the remaining part of the Blood Cloud turned into Si Hanhai's appearance. At the same time, it also became illusory and transformed into a human form. In comparison, Si Hanhai's aura was a little dispirited, while Cloud Emperor's aura was slightly chaotic, but it felt strong. The difference between the two was obvious. Blood Demon, you're dead today. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.